Okay. Welcome, one and all, to yet another episode of Whick TV. It's a cross ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from silly to the serious. It's going to be a double header tonight, gang. Okay? We're giving you the best stuff first, though, right out the gate, the best conversation. Okay? And then at 11 p.m. Eastern, so way in the future, we're going to be talking. Oh, I'm fucking muted. Okay. Great. Wonderful. The sound is muted. Thank you for letting me know. Professional streamer, Whick TV in the house. Welcome, one and all, to yet another episode of Whick TV. It's a cross ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. And gang, we've got a show for you tonight. It's two shows, in fact. The first show, the better show, will be TheSoyPill has recently had some words to say, and I've decided to convene a council to talk about it. And then at 11 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be debating with Andrew Wilson. He won't box me, but he will debate me, apparently. And we're going to be having a conversation about Christian nationalism. Apparently, he has to save the reputation of Christian nationalists after what me and Eucharist did to them on Monday. So that should be fun. Tune in for that. But we're here to talk about something different right now. TheSoyPill, you have recently accused me of having incel adjacent rhetoric. Can you please elaborate? And then we'll kind of discuss. And when the other people get here, we'll add them in.
Sure. So I wouldn't call myself an incel expert because I am not one. I just, for fun, would browse incel forums back in 2018 and 2019 because I thought it was funny. And this all kind of started because you shared a meme, which I'm not sure if you knew about being incel, but let me screen share here and let me know if you guys can see this.
Give me a second. Yep, there it is.
Right. So this is like stuff I would see every day on incel forums. Now, just to be clear, before I even get too deep into this, I don't think you're an incel. I think you have plenty of sex, Wick. And I also don't want to like disparage your character on this. This is more of a, hey, I see someone I care about kind of treading into territories that I don't like. But I even think on the best of days, you probably wouldn't fall into inceldom because you're smarter than that. I've seen you talk about things like, hey, sometimes men are bad, sometimes women are bad. It's not this like one-sided thing. So you're not an incel, to be clear, but I think you're pushing people in a bad direction, especially with stuff like this. So, to be clear, this meme is an incel meme. This guy here, who is the prototypical, it's over for you, you'll never have sex because of how bad you look. His name is Saint Black Ops 2 Cell. There's like this big history and lore where they just found some ugly guy they considered a one and said, there's no such thing as fixing this. You will never, ever get laid. Turns out this guy has a girlfriend and totally got laid. So that meme fell apart really quickly. But this idea of, oh, if you're ugly, you can't just say, hey, you have to be this hot model. That's when I started perking up my ears a little bit like, all right, Wick, what are you doing? Now, aside from occasional doomer posting, which may or may not have anything to do with women, but you can elaborate on that, it appears to me, and especially in our conversation last week, that you kind of talk about some of these things in ways that are, in my opinion, very harmful. You say, hey, I'm lamenting at the fact that men can't express their feelings. Don't, women will shit on them for it. And then when I ask, like, well, okay, how do we fix this? Who should we drive people to fix men? You say, go watch like Xerxes. And for those of you who don't know, Xerxes is a mutual of ours who is like a black pill poster. He makes videos called The Incels Are Right. He makes videos where he says, fitness is the only way for men to improve their appearance. We should listen to incels more. Women choose bad men. And this is all part of like this incel bubble of rhetoric that I think you take points from sometimes. So I want to make sure that when you have these points, you're kind of moving away from the black pill, more towards the, hey, things suck, but here's how we can make it better. Here's how we put energy into fixing young men. That's what I'm worried about. And I just want to save you, buddy.
Save me from myself. Well, before I give my opinions on this, I do want to hear from the council, okay, that I've gathered. We've some great people here today. We got Mooncake, we got Dev, we got Stardust, we got Rabidwombat, and we got Charlie. What are your thoughts here? Let's start with Charlie, and we'll just kind of go around real quick. What? The
Well,
accusation has been levied. The evidence has been presented. What are your thoughts?
like I feel like on the Cupid Royale debate thingy that we had, you made a couple of points that seemed a little bit incel-y to me, which surprised me because again, I don't see you like that. I don't see you as incel-y. I think one that stuck out to me the most was the uh discussion of men's feelings not being taken seriously, which I agree with. I agree that men are, not are encouraged to be unemotional and to not express their feelings, and I think that that's bad. But I don't think that women are solely or even, primarily to blame. Um, I think that that is, a part of patriarchy, and I think that, men are typically the ones that punish other men the most for expressing their emotions. And I do think that women, very much participate in patriarchy by, discouraging men from showing their feelings. Um, so that was my those are my thoughts. But also the thing about like, you know, I think about like men who are not conventionally attractive never being able to get laid. I look around me and all I see is evidence to the contrary. I see men that are frankly horrifying to look upon with girlfriends and wives and who are very much loved, because the thing is that all of us deserve to be loved, and beauty is subjective at the end of the day. I have taste that I think many of my friends have described as unusual. I typically don't go for people that are conventionally attractive. Um, and so again, those are my thoughts.
We'll get into it, I'm sure. I don't want to give my opinions too much before we get around the room. Let's hear from Mooncake real quick.
Okay. I think I told you, Wick, that I was more, I guess, devil's advocate on this one because I do genuinely see both sides. So, like, the meme itself, do I think it's like pretty harmless? Yeah, like, it's nothing I'd really write home about. Like, I do think there's some truth to it. But I think that comes more from like a pretty privilege. So, for men and women, where it's kind of like if you are unfortunately like ugly or not conventionally attractive, you probably are treated poorly. I do think there's definitely truth to that. But do I think you're incel adjacent? I don't know for sure. Like, I don't think you are, but I guess I have to listen to the rest of the panel to kind of see how where
You're
that goes.
okay. You're on the fence. You're a centrist.
Yeah, I'm like on the fence about it.
Okay. Dev, I sent you the evidence that he presented. Okay, since you missed it, you've seen this though before. I showed you this earlier when I was bugging you to be on the panel. So, what are your thoughts on this, Dev?
There's nothing wrong with it. I don't see what the fuss is.
That's fair enough.
That's basically it. I mean, it's a meme that I've seen around pretty much everywhere. There's obviously some truth to it. Um, when you say incel adjacent, I assume you don't mean involuntary celibate adjacent, but rather the mindset that comes into being an incel, which is a different thing. Either way, I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah, no, in and of itself, just to be clear, I don't think that Wick posting this makes Wick a terrible person. I don't even think this meme is horrible. I think, in fact, there is truth to it. And in much of incel rhetoric, there is some truth, right? Like, if you're attractive, it will be easier for you to approach women. It's just true. The problem is the kind of bitterness towards women that you see that comes out of this. Like you said, people who have sex absolutely indulge in this rhetoric. This is not a incel literally if you are involuntarily celibate. It's just a huge overlap between people who can't get laid and people who are very bitter towards women. And I think that this, along with other things I've heard from Wick, kind of indicate this bitterness towards women rather than this understanding of how society works and how we need to move forward from it.
Okay, I just haven't seen Wick be that bitter towards women, to be honest. So
Fair enough. I haven't either, but I guess we're going to find out as we go. Rabid, what are your thoughts here?
Well, as a Gen X white Anglo Saxon Protestant liberal who married an immigrant Asian woman, I see nothing wrong with what you're doing. You speak to me, my brother. And, if you look at the Allied soldiers in World War II, they were literally Nazi adjacent, but we were happy they were. They were on the front lines combating the evil and saving the free world. And I think that's what you're doing, sir. I think when you say that handsome men uh, are advantaged. I think it's true. I think the only place that I might cede a little ground to soy is that you would have to be careful where you're sending people, because these topics, we need strong voices that are speaking in a rational way, that aren't coming from a place of anger, a place of blame, that instead see women as our allies, as they have been for thousands of years. They are our partners, combating natural and societal oppression. And I think you're in that camp. So my only contention would be, if you're looking at someone like Xerxes, you need to look at the bulk of their content and see, when I'm handing off these people that I've convinced that I'm a rational actor, I need to make sure that people who are going to piggyback on that trust are worthy of it. But overall,
Fair.
I think you're doing well.
Fair enough. Well, I appreciate that. And yes, the pact, the ancient accord between men and women still is strong today. It is under attack, but we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. Stardust, are you here yet? You with us?
I'm here. Hello.
Hi.
No
I'm
camera today?
no, I will be on camera shortly. Sorry. Okay. So, what I will say is that this this meme is not necessarily terrible. But I mean, it's kind of funny. It reminds me of the you guys remember the HR comic where it's like there's a fat guy who's saying something and somebody says call HR, and then there's like the attractive guy and he says something, and then the woman is saying like, "Oh, you're so sweet." So it kind of reminds me of that. It doesn't seem like the most terrible thing. In fact, my earliest memories of Wick are Wick making jokes about how he is the marriage destroyer of
True.
Twitch politics. That men of America, should be scared of him because he's going to ruin their marriages. Which it's true, you know. I do recognize that, and you know, I think the fact that Wick is able to go above and beyond with with
Envy,
with his
relax.
efforts.
Jesus
For
Christ.
example, he used to, back in the day when I used to host panels, he came dressed up as a dog one time. Okay, now what woman is not going to find that attractive? I mean, honestly, you know, like, like, yeah, isn't that like a whole genre for women? I don't know. Anyway, for white women specifically.
Jeb, I can't
Anyways,
see
Oh,
so
shit.
I can't see the meme.
sorry, I shouldn't have gone there. Sorry,
No,
that was
it's
a TikTok.
fine.
No, anyways,
No,
Wait,
it's
what?
pretty base. Keep going.
Don't stop.
We're with you. We're with you.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm surprised that you didn't get a whole bunch of inbox messages after you dressed up like a dog. That should have been immediately, really. But anyways, so one thing I will say is I just hope Wick has some self-love for himself, and really all of this incel rhetoric about like how you know, there's lookism and things. It applies equally across the board. It applies to women too. You know, women, you know, if you're an average looking woman, you know, you're not going to probably get approached as much as a good looking woman. And also, men
Charlie,
can
is
get
that true?
Um,
Damn.
Whoa.
Hold
well,
on. We're
okay,
talking
hold on.
about
Actually, let me actually speak on this. Let me
That was
speak on
pretty
this.
incel-ish, sir.
Let me, because Soypill and I have actually talked about this. If you guys don't know this about me, I am detransitioned, which means for about 10 years of my life, to the average straight man, I looked like a chubby butch lesbian, sort of this amorphous androgynous creature thing. Very rarely got spoken to by straight men. Gay men would talk to me, and then I'd open my mouth, and it'd be like, "Oh, you know, like what is that?"
That's exactly my point, right? Men
right.
don't even treat you like you're a human being worthy.
They
of
would
being talked to.
literally, yeah, they wouldn't speak. They either would ignore me, or they'd treat me like a bro, which rocked, or they would want to punch me in the face. So while it maybe wasn't like,
This is the
yeah,
men can get away. Like, if we're gonna be real here, like this whole incel rhetoric is completely flipped upside down. Okay, men can get away with looking average. Women cannot as often get away with looking average. If you are average or below average as a woman, you do not get treated as a human being worthy of anybody's time by the male sex. So
I just, yeah.
that's my point. And also let's be real. Men, average and below average men, can also compensate by by education and attaining wealth and attaining education and building a life for themselves, whereas below average women cannot compensate for that because most men don't really value that. They value youth and they value good looking
I
women.
just want to point out that this panel was supposed to be about Wick and his rhetoric and the problems with
What
men,
did you
but
think I was
women,
gonna
as
do?
often they
What did
do,
you think
have
I
made
was
it about
what did you
women.
think I was gonna do? I told you ahead of time what I was gonna do when I came in here, okay? I told you ahead of time. You knew. You didn't want me here. You didn't have to you
We
didn't
love you. We love you, Stardust. We like you here. We want you here. But
Yeah,
I
Wick,
do
to,
think
to be
it's
clear, what I wanted to do was kind of what Stardust was getting into, which is bring up some topics like this and see what your position is on them. And I want you to answer these honestly, like from the bottom of your heart, not like in mind
okay. I'm
thinking, if
ready.
I say it wrong, I'll become an incel, or I don't want to align with the incel. Like, just
I'm
say what
not
you
worried
really
about being
feel.
canceled for my honest answers. Give me what you got.
Sure. So,
Oh, yeah.
like, for example, who do you think has it worse in society, men or women?
In what way? In what
Just in general. Like, if you were
venue?
to ask, like, do women have it on easy mode, as some people say?
In many ways, yes, and not always though. And this is why it's hard to answer this question like with a yes or a no or with a simple answer, is because there are absolutely places in life where women have it much easier than men, but there are also places in life where men don't have to work as hard. Like I didn't have to like put on my makeup or do anything, right, to get on stream and to be taken seriously.
Yeah, me now.
But
I'm putting my makeup on. Yeah.
I know.
Okay.
But at the same time, a woman who is even slightly attractive, even 5 or above, will get a lot more attention and a lot more. They have a higher floor for streaming and a higher floor for people attention. If I, as a as I am, put out that I'm having a bad day and I need help, I'm going to get mocked in a way that women are not.
I don't know about that one.
I will
Yeah.
say
I
about
As a
Can-
social media content creator, like at least for me, when I put out if I'm having a bad day, I think I get a lot of people ridiculing me. Like,
yeah.
a
I think it's
lot.
racism for you though, Stardust,
It might be
specifically.
racist. I don't know.
I
Right,
will
so
say
Wick,
that for like female streamers, I will say that on Twitch specifically, a woman who's decent looking can absolutely get to partner easier, but there is also a reason that the vast, the like top 100 streamers, 99 of them are male. And that's because while it's easier to get that little kick at the beginning, it's very, very hard to go anywhere beyond that.
The
Because
ceiling is lower.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
floor may be higher for women, but the ceiling is significantly lower.
yes,
yeah,
it's
the
very
attention
hard
they're
to grow.
getting is not particularly positive or valuing of who they are. It's just, oh, they're attractive and I'm going to
But-
watch them. And it
hold
kind of
on.
stops there for a
Right,
lot
and
of
What do
like,
you
say,
think
like,
the
the
attention that
attention-
I get? Do you think it's mostly positive or valuable?
I mean, it's much more to do with the things you say than how you look. No offense, but I guarantee you.
Hold
I
on.
would
Do you
guess
not think I
less than
get
one? I guess less than 1% of your audience is watching because they want to fuck you. I would guess that, versus any of these
fair
female
enough.
streamers you're talking about.
But
I
if
mean,
you think I
also,
don't get
just as
comments on my
somebody-
looks, you would just be.
I didn't say
Well,
that.
of course
I
you
can
do.
take a shirt off.
Who's been on Twitch for a while, or I used to be on Twitch for a very long time. When I first was on Twitch, I didn't even get the positive, attractive attention. I just had people coming into my chat saying, "Wow, your nose is really big," or like, like early days of Twitch, like, not early days, but like this was several years ago, and the environment was a little bit different. But I just had people saying my nose is really big. I had one guy saying that my nose is so big he wants to sit on it. He wants to like slide down on my nose, like how big it is. It was to the point where like I started thinking like, do I have a big nose? Because I don't think I have a big nose. I never thought about that before. I've had like every horrible comment about my appearance said about me. Like I'm horribly fat, a horrible, like disgusting, disgusting bitch. I am just horribly unattractive. All like everything, right? And so, like as a woman online, I think you just it is the default to get commented on your looks. It is the default.
Yes,
know?
but Wick
So-
does too. Like men do too. Men get
But
comments
not
on their
even
looks
close to
all
the
the
same
You're
time.
degree.
called
These are
an
like
Ewok.
disproportionate.
But, Wick, it's like,
to
it's
an
not even-
unfathomable
Not
level.
even the positive attention is good. There's a man that self-publishes Amazon fan fiction about raping and murdering me and a bunch of my female streamer friends. multiple of my streamer female friends have stalkers, like people that have been trying to like track them down, followed them across the country. There was a dude who would come into my stream every day for a year and I'd block him every time, and he would say, "Oh, this is not me saying it, pulling out it's reverse racism card," but he would be, "I'm an Indian man, all white women are whores, that's what we think of you, I want to see you get destroyed by BBCs." Like, even if it's positive, it's people being attracted to me or whatever, it's not fun. I don't like it.
The spectrum is wider in terms of you will get much more lauded because of
Yeah.
the higher threshold of attractiveness, but you also get stalkers and death threats because of the attraction. And I don't think men experience this even close to the same degree. But
also
I'm not
think-
saying
I
there's not
agree with
no
that, yeah.
floor. Like
No.
like there are parts of pretty privilege that are absolutely true.
Mhm.
I've had girlfriends that just get free shit all the time and discounts. Like, this happens for sure. The point is, when I ask you who has it easier, the incel rhetoric is women live life on easy mode because all they have to do is make themselves attractive and life will be given to them. Meanwhile,
That's not
men
what I
have it
said.
harder. I know. I'm not saying you say this. This is why I asked your opinion on it. And I don't think you're an incel. Obviously, I would never think that your opinion's going to overlap one to one on this. But when you talk about the problems that men have, it seems to be in a way that's framed that women are causing them, or that women are ignoring them, or that like somehow this is a bitterness and a battle of the sexes and not a societal problem that's just affecting men poorly that we need to alleviate, and that that women also have these similar problems.
Do you not? Well, first of all, do you not think that women are responsible for some of the problems in society, though?
Women do nothing wrong ever.
at least
No, of
complicit,
course,
you
of
know.
course.
Or at lea-
Yeah, no,
yeah,
of course. Like, in the same way
So-
Charlie said,
so
look,
this
if
is
a woman ignores man's problems or demeans them for crying or showing their feelings, even though I think that is part of violating a patriarchal structure of, hey, men have to be this, and if you deviate from this by crying, you're not a man. That doesn't matter. The woman is perpetuating that by saying, "Oh, fuck you, I'm not attracted to you anymore." That's
But this
still
is
her fault,
this
right?
is my
So
problem with kind of like the criticisms that you're levying here, is that I do bring up issues that I see that I think women perpetuate. I also bring up issues that I see that I think men perpetuate. But when I bring up women and I say, hey, women are causing problems for X, Y, or Z reason in this, and they're not
sure.
acting correct, then people say, well, you shouldn't say that. That's incel adjacent. You
Right. So, like,
shouldn't just
Well,
to
this.
give an
I
example
also
of that,
promise
what
you,
problems do women cause?
Well, I do think that women don't take men's problems as seriously as they should.
but women aren't
Could you?
causing those issues.
Okay,
Well,
well,
what
here's-
problems in
here's one.
particular?
So
Rabbit, go ahead.
we have demanded that women be given access to the workplace, that equity initiatives place them in positions of power, and that they earn a lot more. But we haven't resolved the issue that women don't really like to date down. And there's two sides. There's two sides to that. Men have been taught to be self-conscious about their partner making less than or making more than them, but women very frequently say that they will not date anyone shorter than them, and then the other one is that they will not date anyone that doesn't make as much money as them. And that, if we are going to fix for women that they are going to be compensated equitably to men, we have to change that social stigma, tongue twister, that women should be dating up instead of down. There are far more wealthy men, C-suite men, that have waitresses that become their spouses than there are C-suite women having waiters become their
Right.
spouses.
Well,
So I want to be very careful here. So
I do
what
want
you've just
Mooncake to get a
described.
chance, right?
Well, okay, go ahead.
No, it's okay. No, I was gonna say, sorry, I hate that dating down thing. I don't think women have a problem with quote unquote dating down if you're like talking about salary per se, but I
Are
think
you
there's still an
dismissing that concern?
expectation. No, I'm not missing it, but I think there's an expectation on men where it's like, okay, even if they are bringing in like a lot less money, they're not helping with like the housework or chores. They're expecting women to work, to do the housework, to take care of the kids and do all these things on top of not really being a provider. And I think now a lot of men talk about wanting to be providers, but they can't actually do it. So it really is at the end of the day the fault of men, and then they're just kind of pushing that blame onto women.
Also, you guys should go to TwitchCon. You're gonna see beautiful rich women with ugly boyfriends who do nothing and make no money. It's like every hot e-girl you can think of has a worthless boyfriend who is ugly and mean and does nothing with their life and does nothing to make
I
their
have a different,
girlfriend's life better.
counter to this real quick.
I'm not
Kelly. It's
kidding.
not,
I'm not
but
kidding.
I
whose
would
fault
never
is
hold.
that?
I would never hold up
but
streamers as being typical
No,
representation.
they're not, but I'm
It-
just
it-
saying
it-
it's a
it's
really
not
weird
just a streamer thing,
phenomenon.
though.
It's a really weird phenomenon to see it. It's very
It's not-
strange.
It's not necessarily a
Let me
weird
get a word
phenomenon,
Let me
though.
get a word
It's-
in. Let me get a word in. Because in general, I think you're right, Rabidwombat, and that's why I want to be careful. Because the idea that women in general are always looking for that security and dating up, because since 1980s they couldn't hold a bank account or a credit card or whatever, or before that, that makes sense. That is something that I want to reverse. The incel adjacent rhetoric doesn't start there. It starts when you complain about that and say, I don't like that women won't settle for less. And then that kind of ends there. And you can talk about how that needs to change. But the problem is when you face those issues in real life, this is where it should start and end as a complaint. Like, oh, I've just found a woman who has unrealistic standards, whatever, gone. And that can be something you complain about. The inceldom comes when it's this repetitive rhetoric that comes up very frequently. And this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem. And you're not really concerned with the fact that on an individual basis, you can find plenty of women who don't do this. You will not have a problem finding them if you put work into yourself and just go out and meet people. Like, there's a smaller subset because in general, like you said, women do this, but talking about it like this societal issue that's women's fault and not, hey, I'm going to be the change I want to see. I'm going to go out and meet people who don't have these standards. I don't give a fuck if you're 5'10" and I'm 5'7", I will still date you. This happens all the time. And by making it this problem that's like, hey, the conversation kind of stops and ends here, and this is the society's problem, and society is the reason why I can't find a girlfriend, or all these women have too high expectations. That's the inceldom rhetoric, where it's like, oh,
But I don't
lament
give
and
that
doom
rhetoric.
pill and black pill.
I don't give that rhetoric. I don't say that you have no hope, ladies in general, or gentlemen who is watching me, who acknowledge the problems that I see, not just in the dating market, but with women in general and with men themselves. My message to them has never been, give up, you're not going to make
know.
it.
If
And
it
I've
was,
never
you
said
would be
that.
an incel, to be
I
clear
have
with.
said over and over again, there are ways, even if you don't look as good as others, that you can make yourself more attractive to the opposite sex, that you can pull, right? That you can pull a woman who's beautiful, who you will love, and who will love you. But we have to acknowledge that there are issues and problems that are unique to men that, yes, women not only perpetuate, but in many cases cause. And I think that there are...
What is a unique problem to men that women cause?
I think that one of the unique problems that men have in modern dating is on dating apps, right? I think that women, it might not be their fault, right? But they are absolutely contributing to a problem where they are selecting for certain features that men just can't compete on, right? Like, men do terribly at dating apps for the
Okay,
most
but
part. Like,
would you
But
say
there's
that
too much
women?
option.
Hold on, this is another one of my questions. Then, do you think women in society need to be more charitable to men that they're dating? Like they should lower their standards?
well, those are two different questions. Yes, I think they should be more charitable to men they're dating, but no, they shouldn't lower their standards. So
Okay, well,
charitable
the
to
charitable.
so for example, what I mean by charitable to men is like, if you're with a guy and you like the guy and maybe he messes up sometimes, you should have some charity for him. Maybe he does something you don't like and you got to forgive him sometimes. But I think that for
Okay,
men
but that,
too,
this
men
is
should
this
have
is
that.
agendered
Yeah, yeah.
advice. But when I say should women be lowering their standards, not like should they care about whether or not you're taller than them, or whether or not you make more money, or whether or not you look good enough, in the way that on these dating apps they do select for the highest
I think
degree of
that
attractiveness.
women would be happier if they did. There was a book called Learn to Settle for Mr. Right Now, not Mr. Right. It was written by a woman, and she did an experiment where she looked and she asked men, what are your qualities that you're looking for in women? And they'd list 5 or 6 qualities, right? And they'd vary, pretty generic stuff. And then she asked women the same question, and they had lists 30 items long, right? And there does again, this is because women are more desirable. They're the ones who are the choosers and selectors in the dating marketplace. We get that, right? But at the same time, their standards are exceptionally high in many cases.
Do you think they're too high?
In many cases, yes. I think someone
Okay,
who's looking
in
for
what
6
ways?
figures, what was it? 6 inches,
Six pack,
6 figures, 6
six
feet.
inches.
Oh,
Yeah.
666. Yeah.
Yeah, the 666. I think that, okay, like, if you can get that, by all means, but
But I
most of
think
y'all
it's a
ain't getting
certain
that.
group of women. I think it's just like that's a very small group of women who I do believe are looking for those things. And most of the time, I don't think men are going to be attracted to those women. It's probably, I'm going to be honest, rich men who are going to be dealing with those types of women. It's not going to be like a regular schmegular guy. And I feel like I could like pick anyone out of a crowd and be like, she's probably dating down if we were to consider it. And I also think dating apps is not really a good example because if I'm being honest, if I'm on a dating app with all the choices, why wouldn't I pick the guy who's 6'6", makes over
Yeah, it's
$150,000 a year, and
not
like who
exactly.
likes to
It's not something
travel?
you've done that's immoral. I'm not trying
Yeah,
to
but I'm just
posit
saying, like
that.
I
it
don't
kind
He
think
of
asked
that
for a
makes sense in
unique,
that way.
just real quick.
thing.
He asked for
Right,
a
right. But
unique
how is this caused
issue
by
towards
women at
men
all?
that
Even?
are caused by women, and
Why
that
is
is
that caused by
caused
women? If it's an 80-20 split on dating apps, men typically, I don't know if you look at generic men's dating app profiles, they're usually dog shit and they take bad photos because they don't take good photos with their friends. Very poor lighting.
bad.
Don't put work into themselves at all. And so yeah, if you have an 80-20 split, and like Mooncake said, you're looking for someone desirable, and 9 out of 10 of these people are just like, oh wow, this is an immediate like weird photo with nothing in the bio that interests me at all. Why would you swipe right there?
Well,
Like, why is that perpetuated by women if not men not putting more work into themselves to make themselves more desirable?
I mean, I also think that we're not thinking. I do think that dating apps make these things more difficult on purpose so that they keep people hooked in to keep using the app, and they want to encourage men to pay for the premiums so that they're more likely to be seen by women. But also, I think that dating apps, regardless of your gender or like who you're trying to date or whatever, dating apps are kind of dehumanizing because it's reducing people to data points. And I don't think that they're good for anyone, frankly. I don't care for dating apps at all, no matter if you're getting, I don't know, a lot of clicks or not.
Well, not
I
long
mean, I
term
don't
for
think
sure,
dating
right?
apps
Like you
are.
can hook up
Yeah,
on them, but you're not going to find a long term partner. But when you
Plenty
have
of people
just
do,
the
to
top
be fair.
20%, well, I met my wife on Plenty of Fish, so I'll agree with you there. But
I don't think
I
that dating
think,
apps are good for most people for
yeah,
long term relationships. Yeah,
yeah,
because even for
mm,
women, like you're kind of you're sifting through a sea of like what SoyPill said, a sea of like really weird photos, and then when you get past the weird photos, you get some decent photos, you get people with actual bios.
What's up with all
How
these
many of these
bitches
people are like you're
bothering
still
me?
thinking about your safety at the end of the day, right? And you're thinking
What's
about
up
like
with all these
yeah,
like
when you meet up with
busted
this person,
dudes
okay, like
popping in
um
here on
you
my
are taking
YouTube
a risk,
and
right?
complaining?
When you meet up with anybody. And then like in the long term, we're women do tend to be more selective because also like how often do these like long-term relationships end and then there's a child
Mind your
involved, and
business.
how what percentage of the time is it the woman who is the primary caregiver of this child after that relationship ends, right?
she should have picked
So
better.
yeah.
Dating apps are
Okay.
only
Well,
good
that's
for
actually
certain
wait, real quick. That's another one of my points, Rabidwombat. Wick, do you think women choose bad men?
yes, and I think men choose bad women. Frankly, I
Because
think
like
that
the insult talking point is really this idea that like you look at these single women with deadbeat fathers, you look at like people that get abused, you look at all this, and it's like
If you haven't been timed
this
out, I'm
idea
not
that this is
talking about
women's
you.
fault for not
look
So
choosing
don't
men.
worry.
in
Anyone in the chat,
hold on.
if you're not
If
banned or
you
timed
are
out, you're fine.
man or
You're
woman
safe.
on your 10th relationship where the same damn thing keeps happening to you, maybe it is your fault. Maybe it is your fault. I'm just saying. Like if you are on relationship 5 where someone has
Baby Daddy
treated you a
4.
certain way, right? And acted a certain way, maybe you do have to look at your selection process and think, why do I continue to select for this quality?
Well, I want to go
How do
back
you
to
know if
what
someone's
Mooncake
abusive
said.
before you date them, Wick?
Often
I
is
want
it
to go back to what Mooncake said before, though, right? Because she said, okay, sure, they're picking these men, but they're not helping enough at home. They're not providing emotional support. They're not doing all these other things. Those are the criteria that women should be looking at, right? And I think that's something when we talk about are they choosing, should they lower their standards? I don't think they should lower them. I think they should reprioritize them. And as women start becoming more self-sufficient, more consistently, they should say, I don't need a man for money, for support to be able to go back into the workforce. I need someone who was raised in a way that they know how to cook. They do their own laundry. They'll do my laundry. They'll negotiate boundaries as our lives change and I get busier and they get less, we'll renegotiate the split of effort at home. All these things have nothing to do with how much he's making, how tall he is. There's no 666 in any of that. And I think that's where women can be better.
You don't think that
That
women
there shouldn't
mostly
just
do
be
those
an
things
instant.
other than the salary thing? I mean,
I don't
obviously
think
there
so.
is. I
I
I
honestly
don't know
don't.
if this
I
is a
honestly don't.
bubble that I'm in, but women are constantly looking for men who can cook, men who can share in the chores, men who can negotiate and split things in ways that make sense. And a lot of men can't do any of that shit. A lot of
But at
men
what
can't
point?
even do their own laundry, which is kind
So
of
at what
unfortunate.
point in the relationship though, right? Because I think when you're looking at the dating app, when you're going out and you're hitting the bar and that, it's that first set of criteria is the 666 and then 6, 12, 18 months later, that's when the second
Well,
evaluation
that's when that
comes,
comes up, right? On
or
the first date,
potentially
you're
a
not like,
year into
"Hey,
the
do you
wedding.
do laundry? Can you cook?" That's not usually stuff you would ask like
Well,
right
I'd
away.
also like
Well,
to
you should
point out
probably have
that,
an idea of that
like,
before you
Right?
start dating.
like women who are
Any
short
man
don't
that
have an idea. Oh, go ahead, Star.
Oh no, I was just saying that any man, even when you meet these guys for the first time, any man can say that he does cook for himself. Any man can say that he does do his laundry regularly. But when it actually comes to show, when you actually learn to see whether they can, is when you've been in that long-term relationship, and then you're like, oh, is this person just having a bad month, or are they,
Yeah.
or are they really just not good at this? And then the second month happens, and then the third month happens, and then before you know it, you've been with them for a whole year, and then and yeah, so
Yeah.
it like kind of
It
yeah.
sometimes doesn't even
Anyone
show
can
up,
hold an
Star, until you
apartment
move
and
in
live together.
together, which is kind of like the idea that Wick, you say, well, they shouldn't be keeping, if you are 5 abusive relationships in a row, it's like you can't tell someone's abusive necessarily on the first date. Not sometimes not even till like 6 months in, when they get
Well,
comfortable, they feel like they've won you over, and now that they're comfortable, they're like, hey, I've trapped you. You have commitment to me, and I can push it a little further. So
Yeah.
that's why it's like that's the incel rhetoric is like women choose bad partners, and it's like, well, there's just a lot of
there's a
shitty men
very
out there, and it's
There
hard to
are a
sift
lot
through
of
them.
shitty
But
men, but we
there's
have
a
to
very
again.
there's a very wait
a
wait
lot
wait
of
wait
shitty
wait
women
there's a
out there
very
too, though, right?
important there's a
There are,
very
sure.
statistic. There's a very important statistic, right? Um, a huge amount of domestic violence does not start until the woman is pregnant. That like a large percentage of domestic violence in relationships only begins the first time when a woman is pregnant, and that is an alarming stat, but it is the truth. So how are you supposed to tell when somebody's abusive when the first time they're physically abusive with you is when you are at your most vulnerable, when you are pregnant?
I will say, and I completely agree with you, Star. I will say, as someone that, for the majority of my life, has picked bad people, there are always signs first. And what that is, I think that there are definitely people of all genders who don't have a good basis for what healthy relationships look like, and then they get trapped in cycles of abuse and don't really know how to pick out the signs. And I would wager
Do you
that
think that's
many.
your fault, Charlie?
Do I think it's my fault? No, it's not my fault. My parents sucked.
No
Uh,
bootstrap arguments for Charlie there,
no
Soy? 'Cause that's
bootstraps
all you've given
arguments.
for men.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
that's
No,
Just
probably
listen.
picking better,
Dad's
It's
Charlie.
not. It's not men's
That's
fault.
true,
Listen,
though.
I know men who have picked really bad, and it's because they've had a really fucked up, awful childhood. And at some point, like, it does become your fault. It became my fault when I,
Yes.
developed enough, like, critical thinking skills to go, my God, I am someone that has been therapized. I have people in my life who support and love me, who are pointing these things out to me. What I can do is, like, work on not making dumbass idiot decisions, which I have done in the past. So at some point you reach an age where it's like, okay, get it the fuck together. It is
But does me
2025. We have
saying,
so many
and
resources
Charlie,
out there to get your shit together,
Charlie, I'm going to ask you directly. When I say that, hey, women out there, if you're choosing men and you're on your 5th man and he's acting the same way as all the other men before him, like, you should probably look to yourself and try to find out what you are doing wrong when you're choosing men. Is that incel rhetoric to you, or incel adjacent? Is that anywhere close?
I
It's
think
getting close,
I
but
think
the axioms there are completely fine, right? Star, you're echoing a little bit, but yeah, the idea of
He
like,
said that.
hey, if you have seen the same pattern 5 times, you haven't changed. Yeah, you can put a little blame on them. The problem is incel rhetoric is the epidemic of women choosing bad men, the epidemic of single mothers who chose bad men. That's the incel rhetoric. And I don't know necessarily how close you are to that, but would you consider it an epidemic of bad decision making on women's
I
parts?
don't know about epidemic's a weird word to use, but there is
Sure.
plenty of it, and it is in what we do in society though, and I see this all the time, is we coddle women about this. We're like,
Okay.
"Oh, it's okay, it's not your fault." We yas queen them. Yas queen. You know, it's just those evil men. We do this
And I
all the time.
I'm sorry. When 20% or close to 20% of women experience domestic violence for the first time during pregnancy, how the fuck are they supposed to pick better men?
Carefully.
What? Yeah, more carefully than they are.
Well, a lot of them are
Look,
young.
no one
A
is
lot of them are
Give them
young
real
and
advice.
don't like like this is.
Return to arranged marriages.
And also,
That's the
how
plan.
do women get coddled with domestic abuse and violence and
I'm not
sexual
talking about
assault?
domestic
I think
abuse
that's
and violence and sexual
crazy.
assault. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when women complain that their men are deadbeat dads, that their men are not helping around the house, when their men are just not living up to their expectations, leaving them lonely, et cetera, et cetera, et
Not
cetera.
romantic enough.
Yeah, exactly. There's a ton of things, right, that they'll
But
say.
they're very good at like switching. Like sometimes I find that you'll find especially with abuse, men will do it in very small ways. They'll start very small. Sometimes people can't tell when there's those like little changes and then it builds up over time. And I think sometimes we have to remember that people get stuck in a situation that they're like, oh, wait, it wasn't like this 6 months ago. And unfortunately people do that all the time. And I would say also, have you noticed when parents get divorced, a lot of the times the dads aren't around. So they start turning these women into single mothers. Oh, I'm going to see my kid once every 2 weeks. And I think that's something that we do need to discuss. And we see it so often. So it is hard to tell. Maybe they were a good husband or dad during the marriage, but after the marriage, they just stop. And we do see that.
Yeah, why don't you elaborate on the coddling then, Wick? Because I think they're making pretty good points about the abuse and how it's not like we're coddling them. If anything,
Because
it's like,
I am
hey,
not saying
maybe
we're
we don't
coddling abuse.
give them the tools to recognize it early enough. That's on society as a whole. I don't think that's a problem
Well,
perpetuated by women exclusively, though.
and this is why access to
So-
access to abortion is so freaking important. And encouraging women not to get married super young and have children super young. Like, I'm sorry, I feel like this is how you get stuck with shit people. We need to encourage women to not get stuck with shit men. Abort.
Well,
Don't get married young.
I understand your point, Charlie, but I do think that the topic of abuse, the topic of deadbeat like dads, I don't think that really applies to any age, right? Yes, younger women who get into these long-term relationships from a younger age are more likely to like be more naive and tolerate things, and women who are not educated and don't have a source of income are also more likely to tolerate like abusive behavior and things like that. But
Less
this can
experience.
happen to anybody at any age, and again, like the reason why I find this whole incel rhetoric thing like wildly disproportionate is because when it comes to like this like men are concerned about like dating bad women and having a bad relationship and or maybe not even dating
Men are
women at all.
concerned about
Women
finding a woman at all in many cases.
yeah, finding a woman at all, right? Whereas women are concerned, like it is your actual safety. What percentage of women, of female homicide victims in America, are a result of domestic violence? It is like something like 35%, some crazy number. 35% of female homicide victims in America are the result of domestic violence. So yeah, while men are looking for finding a woman at all, women are thinking about their safety, right? And thinking about the safety of their future offspring.
The
Okay.
person most
That
likely
is-
to kill you
here's
if
my
you're a
first
woman
question-
is
but hold on,
the
just real
man
quick.
closest to you.
Just real
Most
quick.
likely to kill you is your boyfriend, your husband, your dad.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just real quick, however.
Or wife.
Okay. My issue with this conversation is I feel like I'm saying something that is perfectly reasonable, perfectly backed up by what I would consider evidence, anecdotal as it may be. But then you guys start talking about things like, but domestic violence, but homicides in relationships. That's
Well, we're
not what
talking
I'm
about
discussing. That's not what
women.
I'm referring to.
But
I'm
we're
talking
here-
about something that's a
we're-
lot
we're-
more grounded, if you will, where most men aren't going to beat their women. They're just not. Do you disagree with that?
You can.
I
mean, it's just
I
empirically
do.
true. Like you.
I think it's a higher number. I think it's a higher number than we think. I think there's a decent amount of men who probably would be willing.
What's your
to go against
number? What's your
women.
guess? Give us a
Honestly,
ballpark.
I think it's 50.
Hold on. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 men in this call. What percentage of us are going to beat our women?
I was gonna say 50%. I think it's 50.
Wait. So two of us are
50% of
wife
men
beaters
do
in here.
How
then.
many of us have women here? Because that could really just
Fair enough.
eliminate the
I think,
the
but
list.
I do. Sure, I understand what you're saying, Wick. I don't know the numbers on that. What I do.
Do you think it's 50%?
It's not 50-50. Not even close.
I think it's definitely like 1/3, probably, to be honest.
No.
30% of men.
I know too many women that have been beaten by men. I know too many women for it not to be like at least like 1/3. I don't think
It
it's
is
every
1 in
man,
3.
but I
That's,
do
like, the
think
actual stat.
I do think
You
it's a
wanna
lot
know
of
how
you.
many men
I do
know
think
who've
it's
been
a
hit
whole
by
lot of
women?
you. I'm sure a
think
lot
it's
of them.
just-
Yes,
We're getting
absolutely.
really
Rabid
derailed.
Wombat. I don't
Not
want to take
be-
that
not to
away
be
either.
sexist, but we're talking about women too much. I wanted to have Wick elaborate.
I know, right?
Can,
Yeah, sure.
Can you tell us, what do you mean when women are coddled? Because before you elaborate, and this isn't me trying to tell you to be careful, I'm not trying to gotcha. That is the start of an incel sentence, but the way you finish it could be very not incel-y, right? It could be, hey, they have privileges here, here, and here, and we need to rectify that, instead of the incel rhetoric, which is like women have it on easy mode. So I want to know what you think about women being coddled.
I think women, here's the thing. Society doesn't take women seriously, right?
Okay.
And because they don't take them seriously, they are often coddled when they make a bad decision, when they do something wrong, when they break a law, right? If you look at conviction rates, women are far less likely to be convicted for the same crimes that men are because, again, society does not take women as seriously, right? This is a positive and a negative. And if I was a woman, I'd be infuriated by this stat, right? Infuriated by the stat that no one does take me seriously in these things, that I'm not seen as a person in the same way that a man is. But one of the things that happens is when we getting back to the relationships and relationship dynamics, whenever there is an issue there, I'm not talking criminal, I'm not talking abusive, I'm talking just an issue between men and women in average relationships, right? Women are just not taken as seriously, and men are often given the onus of having to have done
Here's the
wrong
issue
to
with-
fix
Well,
things.
I would-
with the issue.
Do you
Okay, wait,
disagree
can
with
I-
any of that?
Can I just
I
just
would,
break this?
yeah.
The issue, Wick, is that you were talking about average relationships, and your idea of an average relationship is vastly different than what a woman's idea of an average relationship is. Right? You talk about relationship dynamics, and you think that the domestic violence is not something that is commonly thought about by women, but it is. It is part of the relationship dynamics, and women are thinking about the risks that they potentially face in like a long-term relationship. So you can try as much as you want to say that oh, I'm just talking about normal relationships, but we're not even addressing the entirety of the issue if we're not talking about what women or why women act the way that they do and what the risks that they're thinking about are when it comes to these relationships. Because again, if it's 1 in 3 that
The made-up number.
It's not, though. It's
No,
not.
I think it is 1 in 3.
It's
like,
about-
actually.
Hold on. In
It's
last year,
wait a minute,
how many men were brought up for interpersonal violence? Do you think?
I don't know how
4%.
many men
It's
there
4%.
are.
That's what
No,
it
no,
is.
no. The statistic is like 1 in 3 women have faced domestic abuse, not 1 in 3 men will domestically abuse someone.
Yeah, if it's
I
1
would
in 3
also
women
like to
have
say that,
faced
I mean, like,
domestic abuse, okay, if 1 in 3 women have faced domestic abuse, right? Which I think that is a pretty accurate stat. I'm not saying 1/3 of men are domestic abusers, but if 1 in 3 women have faced domestic abuse, then yeah, that is a common relationship dynamic for women.
I would also like
So
to
if
say
only
that, like,
4% of men are committing domestic violence and 30% of women are being domestically assaulted.
I don't know if we can overlap the stats like that, but I see where
Oh.
you're going.
okay, can I make a point, please?
Yep.
I heard boys will be boys growing up. I heard boys will be boys growing up so many times when boys and men would do horrible, awful things We have made it completely socially acceptable for men to abandon their children. We have made sexual misconduct a complete and total norm for men to commit. We forgive. I have grown up watching my brothers, my male friends, and my male relatives get away with horrific things that the women in my life would never, ever, ever be able to get away with.
Such
And
as?
Like working in a coal mine?
no, my family members are not
Yeah,
coal
I'm not
miners.
saying that. To be clear, I'm not saying that that doesn't happen. I'm just thinking in my life and my anecdotes and watching women I know be able to just get away with all sorts of things that a man would not. But I understand these are anecdotal, right? And I don't put that on all women or all men or anything like that. But the problem is, and again, the problem with this whole conversation is we're supposed to be talking about men's issues, men's issue, like men's
Well, no, the
problems.
purpose of the
Well, I will say,
conversation
Wick,
was
can I
all
say,
talking about women.
let me admit a fault in myself. I give men so much more grace than I give women, and I have noted this in myself repeatedly throughout my life, that I will forgive men for so much more as friends than I will forgive women for. And this is a problem that I've seen in myself and that I don't like in myself, and it's something that I observe in a lot of people, is that they give men a lot more grace for like social inappropriateness, being a shitty person than they do for women.
Hold on. Let me challenge this for a minute. So, let's say both of us go to a bar, okay,
Mhm.
or a club,
Mhm.
okay, and both of us go up, and you go up to a man and you just start grabbing on him, okay, hugging
Mhm.
him close, like dancing up on him, like feeling him up and stuff. I go up to a woman and I do the same thing to her. Which of us do you think is going to get kicked out of that club? Which of us do you think that society is going to look down on and not forgive for their actions more?
Oh, definitely you.
Exactly. So while you perhaps might give more grace to men in your life, and you're a saint for doing so,
No,
okay?
it's bad.
I
It's
think
literally
most people
misogyny. It's
don't.
misogyny, Wick. It is misogyny. I see this in myself.
You're
It's
insane.
misogyny.
no. Charlie's saying she's misogynist.
I'm a
Oh, no.
misogynist.
Yeah,
I don't
the
like
bar-
it. I
I'm
see it in
saying
myself.
this
I
is
have to do
misogyny.
something about it. I have to. It's bad.
Okay,
I
Wick,
understand.
I want to refocus this because maybe this was supposed to be about you, not about men in general. This is about you because we
But
all care about you. Wick.
well, I
So-
am
so
the
maybe
representative of
maybe
men.
we can
That
refocus
is
this.
my complaint
and
as well,
you're
yes.
This
more
isn't
than
about
welcome.
masculine men. This is about you, Wick.
You're more than welcome to not want to answer this line of questioning, but I guess based on what I see, and I don't have specific examples, I do see you doomer post a lot on Twitter. Now, whether or not that has anything to do with women, who knows?
It's
Because a lot of bad
politics,
shit has
baby.
happened.
Almost
Politics.
entirely
So
politics.
if you're not comfortable with answering this line of questioning, let me know. Are you single right now? And if
I
so,
don't talk about I don't talk
is
about
there
my
like a struggle
relationship stuff.
there?
Right. I
No?
don't talk about
Okay.
relationship stuff, good or bad. It's just
Okay.
I've seen what happens when people make relationships part of their streaming. It does not go well. Right?
There's a lot of recent examples that are floating
Yeah.
around at the moment.
Hmm.
So I just sorry about that. So
Okay, no,
just that line of
totally fair.
questioning
Okay,
just
well
not-
then I guess to refocus on the idea of like why I see this as incel adjacent, and this was my big problem with it last week, is that you were lamenting about things that do happen, such as like you just said, there are things that men have double standards towards. Men get treated whereas like if you're a man at the park with a kid, you're more likely to get called like a pedophile and not like, hey, this is my fucking kid or I'm babysitting this kid, right? They are seen as a threat. I mean, Star just showed us, and this is no like shade on you, Star, women do treat men like a threat in most cases, and there's usually valid reasons to, but they're going to overlap that criticism onto men who are not a threat. And that is just something that we have to now deal with because of this smaller portion, as we know by the stats, of bad men. So my question is, what are you doing to try to like fix this, or like what are your actual prescriptions of like how do we get men to be taken more seriously? How do we give advice to men? Because it seems to me, and my problem with you last week was all you mostly do is just kind of yell into the void about how women have it easier in this case, or men have this problem, they're not taken seriously, and you're not really trying to like be the example of I take men seriously and this is why we should do it, or here's my advice to men panel, or
I can
this is
answer
how I
this
treat
question.
people in my life.
Yeah. So I think that one of the things that men don't get a lot, and I try to provide in the small way I can. I'm not a very big streamer. I don't have a lot of influence. But sometimes people just want to complain and be listened to. And I think there should be space for that. Where I'm not trying to fix them. I'm not trying to solve their problems, but I'm just trying to be like, yeah, man, women suck. Women are bad, right? And just kind of commiserate with them in that way. We need a space where we can just go, we can vent, and we don't have to be judged or feel
A
like
safe
people
space?
are. Yes, unironically in a lot of ways.
We've
And I
shifted the open
try
window. We're
when
pro
I
safe
when I
space.
when I give hold on. When I give, right, and my takes on this, and when I kind of commiserate with my fellow dudes in chat, that's kind of what I'm doing. Is I'm saying, hey, I understand, I get it too, I see it too. Now, once you build trust with an audience, right, you can start to also integrate like solutions. But I think the first step is building a relationship of trust with your audience. And I think that one of the ways you do that is by being honest with them, forthright with them, and not trying to immediately be like, I'm only doing this so I can tell you what I want you to do, right? Because I hate that. I hate people who come up and immediately you feel like you're being sold something, like someone is selling you a thing. And I don't want to do that to my
Hey man,
audience.
cool it with the anti-Semitism, okay?
That's funny. But no, that's that's why I do that, right? So when you see me screaming into the void or whatever, or just being doomer about women, yeah, I think that it's perfectly acceptable and a good thing, actually.
It's a good thing to be doomer about women. Star, you're echoing again.
Oh no, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
sometimes.
so this is, I guess, good, because now I think we've drilled down to my real problem with how you view this. I think it's never good to be doomer about women. I think it's just as harmful as these women who go into safe spaces with other women and say, all men are pigs, this is terrible, like I can never find a good man, all men suck. Like, I think this is perpetuating this narrative of society that is going to alter your perceptions of people, like on like initial bases, and breed these kind of negative thoughts towards communities in ways that they really shouldn't. So yeah, I think commiserating that, like, hey, dating's hard because dating apps are hard, that's fine. Complaining like, oh, this girl rejected me and she was really shallow and it's harder to find a less shallow person, that's fine. Commiserating about the state of how women are in an all male space, I think, is how you get incel communities. And that's why when you talked about this sort of stuff and you were commiserating and I didn't see you offering solutions, you said, hey, like, I do think there's good red pill people like Xerxes. And then you go to
I do
Xerxes'
think
channel.
Xerxes a good guy. He is.
I think Xerxes is not a good rhetorical person that you should send anyone to if you're trying to make them improve as men, because all he does is commiserate about how men have it bad. Women are, cheating, lying people who are vapid and they need to lower their standards. And he is an incel. He's not incel adjacent. So yeah, I think you're sending people to incel people. That's bad. Yeah, like you are doing a societal harm by
I
doing
also
that.
think that you guys should try commiserating with like lesbians and queer women a little bit, because I'm not gonna lie, I feel like you're laughing,
Tried. We're
but
not allowed on that server though. We tried.
you would be shocked by how often when I've dated women in the past, I've commiserated over the same issues with my straight male friends. Like,
this
you
is
don't
true.
need
I had a lesbian roommate in university. This is absolutely a thing. They do it.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's just it's like it. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be a boys only club. If you want to talk about the difficulty with dating
here's the
women,
thing.
you should
Here's the
include
issue, though,
some
because
women maybe.
Soypill, you describe something that's very real. If you step into a feminist space on either online or offline, whatever, but like an all women feminist space, you're gonna have women talking about women problems, and they're real problems. But there's not this expectation in that space that at the same time they also talk about men's problems. In fact, women are often allowed to, within this women's space, to be very hyperbolic in discussing their own issues.
Yep.
So when Whick is in, let's say, a men's space, and he's talking about men's legitimate problems, and maybe he's being hyperbolic as well, it does just seem to be the same sort of thing.
Yes,
And
and I would
it,
say
it, it
both of those are bad, just to be clear. Like, I'm not pro women's only spaces where all they do is say hyperbolic rhetoric about men. Like I said, I think that's bad. It's perpetuating it. I've seen it happen in real time, perpetuate very bad narratives about men in general that are not just, hey, here's a real society problem, but like, hey, I'm about to like start treating men differently in my day-to-day life in negative ways that do not reflect how most men are.
Well,
Sure, and I agree with you. By the way, I agree with you. It's just that this type of safe space-ism just seems to be very prevalent right now. Like you can do it with race, go into like an all black space where people are talking about how evil Whitey is or something. Like this happens a lot, and it's not good. But Wick isn't unique on this.
Sure, I
Well,
don't think he is. He's just someone that is my friend that I care about, which is why when I see him doing something negative, I'm calling him out specifically. But obviously, if this was really, but to be clear, Wick, if this was like, holy shit, you can't do this, I wouldn't make this a panel. I would just talk to you in DMs and be like, hey, whoa,
I know this
buddy,
is.
maybe you shouldn't be DMing this 14-year-old or whatever
I
fucking insane thing you were doing.
look. I understand that this is very uh this is very light, and you don't think that I'm like this evil person. I get that, and I'm not accusing you of that, but I am just trying to express my frustration with something that I think that is not just. I think it's a double standard, and I think it's unfair, and I do want men to have better ways to discuss these issues, but first you have to let them know that you're on their side, and this is one of the ways I let them know that I'm on their side. But let's give it to Rabbit. He has his hand up. He's very
I
polite.
do, because I'm a little polite. Sorry, I'm Canadian.
Okay.
Sorry. So two thoughts. One, kind of tongue in cheek. If you have 10 men talking about men's problems, you talk about men's problems. If you have 9 men and a woman talking about men's problems, you're talking about women's problems.
That's true. We are the
Uh,
majority on this panel, and we
that
have talked more about women's problems. You're not
that
wrong.
being said, olive branch over to soy, and I think that's where I come together with him a little bit on this. Is when you look at call centers, and I worked in one for a number of years, you have angry people calling in, and they're going to vent and they're going to say some things, and you don't disagree with them. You nod your head verbally a little bit along with them. You let them get it out. Usually they calm down, and then you get into productive conversation afterwards where you can get to the heart of the real problem. You can talk about real solutions and go from there. And I think what Wick is doing a lot of times is in that commiseration, he is getting through that initial part with these people, and he's
Sure.
getting to a point where once that has been vented off, that you can start talking about real problems, because I honestly think he
Wait,
sees
no,
women
Rabbit,
as
this is
allies,
perfect. This is
right?
perfect. Wick, I agree if that's the way that you're building the bridge to people who want to commiserate. What are you doing to lift men up? What are your prescriptions for men? Because you called what I'm saying bootstrap, and it seems like you view that negatively. What do you actually think
No,
men
I
should be doing to fix their societal problems?
look at what you can do and improve it. So first of all, my advice to men, it's hard to give you a general thing because I think these things should be like tailored to the individual, because not some men just don't look as good as they should and should do some grooming, right? Some showering, some shaving, and whatever they need, right? Or some exercising. I think that's good.
To
But
be
I
clear,
think
the
in
reason I know you're
general,
not an incel is
you
if you
in
said
general,
that to an incel, they'd have a bitch fit. So that's
okay,
how I know for sure you're not.
in general, there's just three things that all men could do, I could do, everyone could do to make it a little better, a little easier on themselves. Okay, first, go to the gym. Go to the gym, pump some iron, run a little bit, do something, work on yourself just a little bit that way, right? That's never going to hurt you. It's only going to provide positive benefits for you. Even if you're not looking for women or to like date or what have you, it's just gonna be better for you and more healthy
Don't lift
overall.
for them, lift for you. I always say that.
True. Second of all, I'll take your advice on the lifting stuff. Obviously, I should take my own advice more on going to the gym, but that's neither here nor there. The second thing I would advise all men to do is start talking to more people, right? Get out there more. Widen your circle of people you talk to. And that is very hard for a lot of people, especially because we've been isolated by our little cell phones and things like that, right? It's become we have a loss of third spaces and communities and things like that, right? I remember growing up, I'd go to the bowling alley every weekend and shoot the shit, right? And those just they're out there still, but you go there now and it's just a bunch of 60-year-olds, right? Like it's just a bunch of old folks, right, doing their thing. Um so again, these are very basic, very generic things, but if you want like real advice from someone, and here's a real kicker, ladies and gentlemen. Don't look for it on the internet. Go to your friends, right? Go to your family. Ask the people around you. They know you better than we do.
Okay, Rabid and Wick maybe. Is what Wick just said at all different from what I was saying in terms of what you called bootstrapping?
No, to be honest, like those are all very bootstrappy. I think they're positive. It wasn't a get good kind of thing. I think it's good advice, though, right? I think I
Yeah, but do
think
you know
you
what
have
the
to look at
difference is?
yeah, but you have to. I think an issue is that we think all the solutions for men are bootstrap and all the solutions for women are institutional. And I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. And so I don't want to completely discount the idea that there are bootstrap things you should do. Like as a man, the focus of your life should be understanding yourself and your passions, exploring those, and then you will find connection as you're doing those. Don't make the pursuit of
Yeah,
someone
I think
else
you're.
the focus of your
I
life.
think. Hold
Right?
on.
That's where I agree
I
with
think
you.
you're. Oh, I think you're missing the point, Soy Pill, and let me explain.
Mhm.
Perhaps is that when I do it, right? When I give this advice, it when it's natural. It's something I believe, and I'm not trying to sell men on it. It's something that if a man asked me, I'd tell them this, right? But I've already done the work of commiserating with them, of building their trust, because I do I I do believe what I'm saying, right? I do believe that they have these problems, and I'm not trying to minimize them. What a lot of men find frustrating is given that is when people just immediately start trying to fix that stuff by it makes it feel like they're not being taken seriously, that their real problems just aren't being addressed and that they're not being listened to. And instead they're being like, shut up, just go to the gym. Shut up and go to the
It
gym.
could,
And
yeah.
I don't think that's I think that like that's the main difference is
The reason that disconnect happens, Wick, is because the men that are doing this, and this isn't like a generalized thing, but this is a lot of examples that I see. This is at least anecdotal. When men say, "Oh, women have too high standards. Women are only shooting up. They only want six packs and abs and height." The people that are complaining like this are people that don't do any of these things you're talking about. They don't go
not
to the gym. They
necessarily.
don't put. Hold on, I'm not saying this is every single case. This is why a lot of these things get shut down. Is because you see that lack of any of those things, any of that work to even raise themselves to the level that like a woman will be like, oh wow, you clearly put an effort and are desirable as a person, and they're still complaining while they're at the bottom. And so that's why you see this disconnect where it's like, well, you're saying, oh, women do this and women do this and women do this, and it's like, what have you done? You haven't even like put yourself into the sphere of like being dateable regardless of gender. Like you are a slob, you don't have a good paying job, you don't have hobbies that are relatable to these people, and it's like, okay, well, I feel bad because these people are telling me to lift myself up. Well, it's like, well, you don't do it. Like you haven't even gotten to the part where like the societal problem should even factor into it.
Here's what we're gonna do. I got some super chats, and I want to get Mooncake's takes here, and I want to get what she has to say, and I want to get everyone else kind of back into the discussion. But let me make a little money because everyone knows that's why I'm really here. $2 from Esoteric Dichotomy to say hello, Wick. Thank you for streaming. You're welcome. $5 from Schwango to say, Soy, who are you trying to kid here? Everyone who knows Wick will say he is wildly pragmatic. No incel nonsense rhetoric risk here. True. Dylan Bowser,
Wait,
membership.
wait. I want to address that guy real quick. Do you think sending people to an incel is not incel adjacent?
Cersei is not an incel.
No,
Xerxes
Cersei's
is an
Twitter
incel.
is. I'm scrolling through his Twitter right now. It's pretty bad.
Xerxes
It's not good.
100,000% an incel, and not he's not on trial right now. But
Wick?
like, you could go look at his most popular videos. It's like ridiculously like everything is about how women are the
He's
problem.
black
That is
pill,
incel.
but
Wick,
not.
Wick.
Black pill is incel. Okay, if he's had sex before, sure. He's not literally the word incel. Incel rhetoric. He is incel bubble. He is an incel. Like he's a red pillar, but says it's over for you. Okay, like it's incel.
Wh-
Which is
What
not
do you
You have
good.
to
You
understand.
Dev,
Wick,
don't let the
you're
women talk over you. Yeah.
you are part of the alt incel pipeline now. That's now your
Alt
legacy on
incel
YouTube.
Unironically, if you send them to Xerxes, you are.
I mean, yeah, because I feel like reading through. If I was a man and I went to Xerxes'
I don't even know
Twitter,
who that is,
I'd be
actually.
like, "Women will never love me because I'm a hideous beast." Like that's how I'd feel scrolling through Xerxes' Twitter. It would
What's-
make me really,
What's this
really
guy's
sad.
Twitter? I gotta go see it.
At bat
Here,
I mean,
bat.
I'll link you his video.
Link
Incels
this
are
thing.
right,
Well, I'll read
volume
these super
2
chats.
in the Discord while he's reading that super chat.
Yeah.
Maybe I can read you some quotes too.
Okay, thank you
Okay.
for the tier 1 membership. Welcome to the stream. Audacity for $5 to say perfect convo before the Wilson debate. Some Sun Tzu tactics going on here, getting into the mindset of your enemy. True. $10 from Doobie. If you're not a traditionally attractive person, why not just accept that you won't be competitive on a dating app built for first impressions? Just find somewhere else you can go to show off your strengths. The problem with that, Doobie, is that we're less and less able as men to approach women in non-app spaces. And we've had this debate before, SoyPill, right? Like more and more it's become socially unacceptable to approach women in public. right? You will get shit on more and more and more than you would have 20 years ago or even 30 years ago, right?
Okay, but Wick, you're a dork. You're a dork, Wick. Take yourself down to the LARP, to the Ren Fair, to the anime convention. I'm saying that as someone that goes to LARP, Ren Fairs, anime conventions. You get bitches. Alright? Like, I'm telling you. Being a dork as a man, that's like a...
I guarantee
It's
you
a-
I
it's
could put
very
together
easy.
a panel in 5 minutes where you will have 6 women telling you that was shameful for you to suggest that I go and invade the LARP space where they are free from being hit on, right? And suggest I hit on them.
No, it's just
Okay,
gonna
again,
happen.
so wait,
It's
hold on,
literally
this
just
is
going
part
to
of my
happen.
problem,
It'll
though.
happen.
Charlie,
People get laid at conventions all the time, man.
Yeah,
this
it's
is part of my problem.
crazy.
Oh, I
Incels
know,
will
but-
point at the backlash to what has been decades of like just totally chauvinistic men like fucking up women in public and being like, "Hey, sup toots," and like putting their arm and not letting them move and like saying, "Well, now it's socially unacceptable to hit on women." And then at the same time, they'll post videos of women complaining that like no one's hitting on them. And these are both problems where it's like men are scared to do anything because they think like any and all things could be perceived as bad. But the problem is also that there was decades. Star, please mute when you're not talking. It's like been echoing the entire time. Sorry.
I didn't realize. My bad.
Yeah,
I'm
so like men have had a decades of history, and I'm not saying all men, but like a good chunk of men, and this is why there's a backlash of just doing absolutely awful things to women in public to try to hit on them and like making them feel uncomfortable. So the idea is, yeah, there are places it's okay, there are places it's not okay, but if you're not doing it because you're worried about how you'll be perceived, instead it's like, hey, I'm just going to shoot my shot, and if I'm doing it wrong, I'll figure out. That's actually a you problem. That's not a society problem. I've never let the societal expectations of what men should or shouldn't do dictate what I should do. I do it on an individual basis, and I think that's better advice to men than just saying, "Oh, don't go out hit on women because women will freak out, and it's totally
I'm not
socially
saying that they
unacceptable now."
should not hit on women. I am saying that
You're
society
lamenting that
needs to make
society
it more
admonishes
acceptable,
it, right?
right? This is my argument. I'm saying that society has made it too unacceptable to approach the opposite sex in public
What do you
spaces.
mean? Are people going
We
to jail
need
for this?
re-roll that back. We need to roll that back and once again normalize going to a woman up to a woman in the gym or the grocery store
No, not the
or
gym.
wherever.
Not at the gym. What
Absolutely
are
not.
you doing?
Okay, not
Bad
at the
advice.
grocery store. I got
Bad.
approached once at the grocery
At the
store
grocery store? Why not?
because I'm on a fucking mission. I'm on a mission to get
a
my
lot of-
groceries,
yeah,
and I don't want to be
problem.
spoken to by any. I don't even care if they're not hitting on me. I don't want to be spoken to at the grocery store. I'm on a mission. It's loud. It's crowded. I'm scared. Leave me alone.
That depends. Actually, I got hit on the grocery store the other day, and it would have been fine, but he started rubbing my back. So him like talking to me is okay. No, I'm not even joking.
Don't
I'm
do
really
that.
not joking.
Yeah,
And he was
don't
like,
touch
"Oh,
my
can I
baby.
give you my card?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, like that's no problem." But then he started rubbing my back. So he was okay in the first half, but once he had crossed that boundary, it was like, "Oh, okay, this person's a weirdo." Like there's no coming back from that. So I think there is a way to approach in public, but it's like I don't think some men understand boundaries. And that
That is
makes
a
it more
separate
difficult.
problem, yes. But you saw the reaction when I said gym or grocery store and how everyone was like riled up. Okay, that's what I'm talking
It
about. Let me
depends.
get
It's
to
from
these.
person to person.
There is a way to do it where it's like where it's not super invasive, I think. Like I don't know. I think
I
that
present the meme that started this all. The way to do it.
Be
That would
hot,
be the
obviously.
meme.
I think that if you like if you approach somebody as they're like leaving or something and you're like, "Hey, I saw you and I think you're whatever, I'm interested in you and here's my number and if you want to give me a call but if no pressure or whatever." I think that's okay. Like I don't see why that's an issue, but
Also,
Yeah, I think
I feel like
before or
not
after the gym,
face.
right? Like the gym is a place where individuals gather
Not in the middle of the
community
set.
to do something, and timing is important between sets and your mindset. So on that one thing, Wick, I would say while they are actually in the gym, the good
Sure, I'm not.
advice
Well,
is
they're
to
mid
not. You
set,
can smile.
obviously.
Not even
Okay.
between sets. They're looking at their watch and they're making sure that they hit their set at the next set at the right time. Right. So
Okay, I'm
so
just
the other
saying.
one,
Just
grocery store,
yeah.
yes,
As somebody's leaving, I don't see an
Gym, no.
issue. I've been approached as I've been leaving, and I think it's non-invasive. It's not somebody getting in your face. It's not somebody disrupting your workout, right? And they're not putting any pressure on you, and then you have the right to like decline, right?
Yep,
And you
yep.
won't feel too bad about it.
Let
I
me
think
let me
you can
finish.
smile at someone or nod or something in the
Yeah, to be-
gym, and that's like a temperature check. That's okay, but
Well, yeah, that's
before
what
or
It's
after
called
is
cruising in the gay
ideally.
community.
Yeah,
that's a
No,
there you
Wick.
go.
To be clear, it's not about the fact that you should never hit on someone at the gym, because there's obviously acceptable ways to do this. The problem is if you prescriptively tell people this is totally acceptable, but most men are actually really bad at boundaries. Now you're going to get a bunch of men who are bad at boundaries doing it wrong in a place where they go regularly. And if they make, let's say, a
That's
mooncake
how they
situation
learn.
happens, yeah, but you shouldn't use women as a way to learn. You should be already telling them what you can and cannot do before
How
you just
can
say
you
it's
learn
totally okay.
unless you do it?
Because
Wick is
people like
pro
you and
human
me
testing. You
can
heard it
say,
here first.
hey, you shouldn't go up to a woman you just met and rub her back while you're trying to give her a
Of
card, right? Now
course
this,
not.
well, you and I think that's common sense, but this guy doesn't. And a lot of men are not raised to. So when you prescriptively say this to your audience, there are some subsets of those people that might go do some shit like that at a gym where they meet regularly, and now this woman is uncomfortable to go back to
Okay,
a spot that she
audience,
considers safe,
if you are
right? So
listening to me, I want you to understand when I'm advocating that you feel more comfortable to approach women in public spaces, I am not advocating, and please don't do this, start rubbing their back or rubbing them at all when you have just started talking to them. Do not do that, okay? I didn't think this needed to be said, but apparently it does.
it
And he
does,
was in the
unfortunately, but
60s,
not because
is
of people like you, Wick, just to be clear.
I'm gonna ask
And I-
Mooncake, was he an older man? Because I feel like
He-
older men
in
are
his
really
60s.
bold. They're so
Yeah,
bold.
which threw me off even more because I'm like, maybe he's used to it. Like this is how I I don't know. I find times older men are more, I don't know how to explain it. Like they have even less boundaries sometimes, where they kind of think like, oh, I can do what I
Nothing
want,
to lose.
especially when they have money.
Because they had all the
Yeah.
HR training videos. They're like, nothing says good job like a firm slap on the ass. You know, like it's
Well,
just in
like-
his culture.
Yeah.
They have resources.
Hold
They
on a
make
second.
it easier.
yeah.
So
I
this guy was in his 60s, right?
Yeah.
The best advice I've ever given, I think, or even heard from other, like I tell people to like you should approach like women like you're approaching like a wild cat. I feel, you know, like you don't corner them, you don't just you know.
You want some
so
tuna,
this-
Star? You want some tuna?
Like that. But you know what I mean.
So-
You don't corner them. You don't like touch them. You know, like you don't
Give them your
make
business card, walk away. It's that easy.
yeah yeah.
Women are wild animals. You heard it here first.
I've-
Okay, go ahead, Dev.
I just gotta ask. So this guy was 60.
I know it's
You said
misogynist, but it,
okay. This guy was about 60, but you said for the first half you were into it.
Well, like he was just talking. Well, okay. I should say I do like older men. Like my last guy I saw was like 42, so I don't have a problem with older men. But initially it was like fine conversation, seemed pretty nice. And then that's when like it took a step further, which I was like, oh, this is weird now. Like this is weird, and I don't
Okay.
know. I guess what to do in those situations. It was just really awkward.
No, I understand. Man, what's interesting is I had a similar conversation about this stuff with a bunch of right wingers, people who are all way more far right than anybody on this panel, and their solution was actually to go back to like arranged marriages, because then at least you have a family who will vet the guy. And I'm like, okay. And there were women in the call who was like, man, I wish my parents would find me a good boyfriend. And it's like, I can see the appeal, but you should do some things yourself sometimes, you know.
They just want.
That's
look,
not
I'm
Yeah,
not gonna turn
that
this into
sucks.
right
I don't
wing
want my
discussion.
parents to pick who I date. They have terrible
Yeah,
taste.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that either. I wouldn't want that either.
okay, people have a lot of misconceptions on how arranged marriages are happen, right? Like yes, your family vets this person and you meet their family and your family meets their family and then you meet them, but you still have like the end say after talking to this person for a little bit, right? It's not like and things can still go wrong, right? But
Yeah, your
Yeah,
family
yeah.
can't suss out whether or not their husband's going to be abusive once you get pregnant. That kind of comes up later, unfortunately.
Yep.
So.
Yep. No, I've talked to several right wing women who are just like, I just wish, because I trust my parents and my family. I wish that they would vet my boyfriends for me, and it's
Well,
like, man, okay.
and for that to happen, like the community that still happen that these arranged marriages happen in is like obviously like the South Asian community. This happens quite often, but part of the reason is like there's like such a like people talk about family values, like South Asians take it like next level, right? So it is quite literally you're not just marrying the person you're marrying their entire family. So it is kind of important for your family to vet their family and then can your families gel? Is the mother-in-law going to be like a fucking pain in the ass and be out riding your ass all the time, even though you work like full time, or like things like that? And also like is this a decent person that you can imagine like living a long time with and enjoying your time with them? So it's like it's
Well,
not that easy, and people have a lot of misconceptions of like what like happens with arranged marriages, and that things still go wrong, and people will start they'll start the process of like, okay, this turns it's going to be a thing, and then things go along the way, and then everything's off, right, canceled, right?
We'll start
Yeah.
us. Do you actually see? Do you see any value in this way of arranging relationships?
I think it really depends, right? Like nothing is gonna be perfect. Honestly, like I have my own, I think that like South Asian community, like there's like a whole other thing there, like where they take family values a little bit too far. So like that's another thing that like there are some pros to it, but also like you shouldn't have to like live and die and breathe for your
Okay, let's keep
like.
I'll
let's
just
keep
say
it
this:
breaking
that my
Wick money.
parents cannot determine the sexual compatibility of me and my future partner, and I don't want them to be able to. So I'm glad I
Yep,
didn't.
I
come here.
completely agree with that.
Yeah, but
$10.
there's a middle ground. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, $10 from Doobie to say, to be fair, women essentially turn into demons at some points in the pregnancy. Not excusing violence, just saying
Sounds like
maybe
you're
they need
excusing
some
violence.
need a non-violent exorcism or something.
Doobie's going through stuff. I just want to add on there, because as a member of the Filipino community, there is something in between what you two are saying, where for my wife in her village and community, if you had a young man who wanted to date a young lady, he would have to go meet the parents, and they would ask who his parents were, who the cousins were, not only to determine if they were related or not, but if there's a reputation on that side of the family. And this isn't even for dating at this point. This is to determine if they're allowed to just start hanging out together, to decide
Yeah.
if they eventually are going
Well,
to
it's that
date.
strict
And
also
that,
with like
right?
within the
Yeah.
South Asian
I do
community,
wanna
yes, because
Yeah.
you
And
have
I
to
think there's value to that.
I do want to get through the
there's
rest of
value,
these.
yeah.
Yeah, I do
Oh,
want to
sorry.
get through the rest
I
of
thought
these.
only
Very
Doobie
I
had
got
one.
no, I
Stop
got
being a racist.
I got a few. Okay. $2 from Frank Vibes to say if someone bring in Myron Gaines. No thank you. $10 from Psychonaut to say I'm a little confused. We are talking about women getting abused, then blaming it on incels, but incels by definition aren't able to get into relationships.
We
How
weren't
are
He's
they at
confused.
blaming it on
He
incels.
clearly is not following the conversation at all.
I don't think he
No one
followed
was
the
blaming incels
conversation.
for hitting women. They don't have women to hit.
$5 from Chernobog Rebellion to say, quote, women choosing bad men is incel talk, end quote. Then proceeds to say how an insane stat of men just harms women for hours. These talks never go anywhere. $10 from Audacity to say the bars for what is considered abuse men versus women versus what is considered abuse for women versus men aren't even on the same field. Psycho men out there, but you'd get chastised for so much as a dude.
Okay,
think
so
women
I don't
commit
think that
more
it's
domestic
okay.
violence than men, to be clear.
I don't think it's okay for women to hit men. I don't think it's okay at all. But I do think that we need to acknowledge that men are typically far more capable of doing a lot more damage to women. It's a lot scarier when, like, okay, for instance, my dad's 6'5", my mom's 5'2". Like if my dad could like crush her skull with his hands. My mom is like a baby animal pawing at him.
Like a wild cat, you might say.
Not even. She is like a chihuahua.
I
Okay.
would say I agree with SoyPill. I do think that I think that women probably on average do engage in more physical violence than men do. But yeah, the point of that is like the point of what I brought up was just purely about like the danger. Like, again, it's like I think it's 6% of male homicide victims are a result of domestic violence, whereas like 34% of female homicide victims are a result of domestic violence. So they're like these are things that people think about, right? They think about like their mortality and stuff, and that's pretty
You keep
important.
calling it homicide,
Homicide
and
is
it makes
when
me.
you feel gay.
It's
Yeah.
homicide.
Not the homicide.
Homicide is something different.
I'm saying homicide.
No,
No, you're saying
No, we know.
homicide.
You keep saying
You said it a few
homicide.
times.
Okay.
Did I really? Okay. I'll
Yeah.
just
Yes.
pronounce
It's okay. $5 from Mr. Wise Guy Plays to say, LMAO. This strong woman unironically thinks it's a bad thing to be nice to men. That's how you know someone has too many yes queens in her life. $5 from Ace.
Wait,
Yeah,
so
like,
that's
what's
that?
What was
I don't
that
know who
who's
for?
saying that?
You have to be more specific. There's a lot of
Yeah,
yes.
there's a lot of yes
Um,
queens on this
I,
one.
I came on here just to be clear. I came on here to derail and just be like, just kind of
Big vocal
yeah.
women. Yeah.
yeah.
$5 from Ace to say panel should use these male violence statistics in arguments with black people instead of men. Let's see if they have moral and
Oh, yeah.
logical.
That's the classic one.
consistency.
It's like you're like, oh, here's this problem with men, and they're like, what kind of men?
Yeah, I always, well, I don't always, but my favorite is how does that break down by race? And then the conversation derails.
I mean,
$5.
the thing is, like, whether it's by race or not, like, we can look at the stats of men in general. If you look at any country, regardless of race, men commit a vast majority of violent crime. So
You're also more
Who
likely
commits-
to be abused
which
by
type of men
men
commit
of
the
your
vast
race.
majority of male
You are
crimes?
literally like, if as a white woman, white men are my main predator. Stars would be South Asian men. Mooncakes would be black men. It is, you are most in danger by men who belong to your race or ethnicity or
That's
culture.
why we should normalize being an equal opportunity predator. That's what.
Right, you're
Wait,
right.
Are all three of you admitting that you date along racial lines intentionally?
No,
Statistic.
I don't.
No,
Yeah.
I like the entire rainbow.
Okay.
I don't
$5
date
fine,
white
yeah.
dudes.
$5 from Bass FC from Xerxes to
Hey.
say, hold on, I'm not an incel.
Mhm.
LMAO, incels would never accept me for obvious reasons. Winky face.
He just agrees with almost everything they do, but I'm sure I think he does have sex. So by definition, is not the incel, but that word colloquially means the rhetoric. Sorry, buddy, you're kind of an incel.
$5 from Shenandoah to say, this panel is simple. Wick is a MGTOW, SoyPill is a white knight, Dev is a wife guy, Charlie is a man, and Mooncake is my feeder.
why am I excluded? What the fuck?
I don't know.
Maybe you weren't
$5
here,
And
you weren't here at
Dev.
the start.
Yeah.
I
$5
am definitely a wife guy, though.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about that?
that
The
you
whole
got
wife guy
married?
thing? No. The wife guy drama on the right, like a couple months ago.
What's the
You guys
wife
hear about
guy
that shit?
drama?
So right wingers were getting into this right wing civil war over the people who just wanted, like, they voted Trump because they just wanted things to go back to normal, whatever normal is. They just want to get married and have a house and have kids and drive around in a minivan and have like a very normal life. And then you had other right wingers who were saying these wife guys are cucks because they don't have the stones to actually be revolutionaries against the system. And so there was this infighting happening on the right for a while over wife guys. It's pretty fun.
I'll have to look into that. Did you do a video on it that I can watch?
I did actually, yes.
I'll have to go check.
Oh,
that
real
out.
quick, Wick, just to clarify also on Xerxes' super chat, everything that I brought up is like, what would you say to this? Every answer Xerxes would give would be the incel answer, and you didn't do that. So
His next super chat will answer that. Says for $5 to say that's not fair. I've never said it was over. What I've said was that it's hard. LL, we're playing Elden Ring right now. LOL. I don't know the Elden Ring bit, but okay.
I don't know.
$2.
Okay, maybe he's not fully doomer pilled. He just says women choose bad men. Fitness is the only way for men to improve. We need to listen to incels more. Pearl Davis is one of the few women in the online space who says positive things about men. Like, okay, sorry, buddy.
Girl? Ugh.
$2 from Ace to say hot girl thanks to give advice to an uggo dude. LOL. Which one of us is an uggo dude? Jesus.
I mean, me, yes, I don't show my face.
Oh,
Excuse me,
damn.
like, wow.
$10 from Doobie to say you can literally go on a website like Meetup and find dozens of events in your area where people like you are trying to meet friends, potential partners, go bowling, hang out at a bar, etc. Perhaps, Doobie, but you can't deny that there are just less of those things happening than there were 20 years
Overinflate.
ago.
Thank you for the
Right?
follow.
It's just not the same. There are less people attending those things. There are less people looking to host these things. It's just less than there was before. $2 from Ace to say Wick needs to build wealth if he wants a girl for real. I don't want to get a
Ooh.
girl with my money. Let's say that. $5 from Audacity to say every time Soy or Charlie talk, my newborn starts crying. When Wick or Rabbit talk, she smiles. I think I found my scoring metric here. Okay, and then $5 from Lithium to say women also commit paternity fraud and get away with it.
Okay.
I mean, we
Fair
have
enough.
ways to
Like they lie about who
determine.
the dad is.
We have ways to determine
Doing the
that
cuck
now.
thing.
Yeah. We do. Well, how do you like? Would you say it's incel rhetoric for a man to advocate for mandatory paternity testing?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's
I think
the
that's
idea is that like,
crazy.
oh, women aren't trustworthy and we have to like check all of them. Even our wives could be lying to us. That's pretty incel-y, yeah.
What do you think if someone said that you're not allowed to put a name on the birth certificate without either the man signing off on it or there being a DNA test on it?
That sounds radical and extreme. I wouldn't agree with it.
Oh, why? Why not? Why not?
Why can't you just name your child without like a whole scientific procedure to
Well,
ensure?
not
No,
the
that's
name.
the man. The man can
father's
say,
name. The
"Put
father's
my
name.
name down," but you shouldn't be able to put a man's name on the birth certificate either without their consent or without a test that proves that it's them.
What legal consequences does it have if
So
like
I'll give you an
I
example.
think
Why
if you
people
want to
might
do a
support-
paternity test to get out of child support, I think that's totally fine. If you every single birth has to have a paternity test or else the birth certificate isn't legitimate, seems kind of
no.
insane.
That's
Oh, you can have a
crazy.
legitimate birth
Hold on here.
certificate with one
So,
name.
Dev,
really
go ahead, Dev.
Yeah,
Give it.
I'll
Give it
explain really
time.
quick. So on a birth certificate, it says on a birth certificate you have who the state identifies as the parents specifically
I'm
for
aware,
legal
yeah.
reasons. Yeah. So I guess the idea is if so a woman has a child, and in some locations she can unilaterally put down whatever man she wants if the man's not present on the birth certificate. Which to me just
Mhm.
sounds fucking crazy. It should be either by the man's consent or with a DNA test.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah,
I
if the
agree.
man's
Yeah.
not there, I guess, yeah, if you could just put anyone's name down, I could see that being exploited, and that shouldn't be the case. But if anything, I think it should just be easy to prove the fraud and the man's not consenting to it, not like, oh, the man has to sign it at some point, not, oh, we have to have a paternity test before you're even allowed to put the man's, that's like, seems a little egregious, but I
Okay,
get
but
the sentiment.
that process takes years and you have to pay child support in that time frame
No,
while it's being
just
figured
saying
out,
they have to be
and you
signed, is
don't
what I'm
get the
saying.
money back at that point, right? And this whole conversation, like your initial reaction to it was that it's overblown, incel-y, anti-women,
Right, yes, yeah,
misogynist rhetoric,
wait,
but
I'm
you
not
spent
backing
30
off from
extra
this.
seconds
One
and
sec,
now it's a
Rabbit.
valid concern.
Rabbit, if the idea is if a woman can just write any guy's name down without his presence and then force him to pay child support, I never said that paternal like fraud or child support fraud is bad. I'm saying that it's incel-y to say every single birth certificate needs to be checked. Every single child needs to be paternity tested because otherwise every single woman will do this when this is a very rare thing. And if we want to stop it from happening because it is bad, I think you can also just do this by saying, hey, a birth certificate isn't valid unless the guy has signed it. If it doesn't have his legal signature on it, just because she put the name doesn't mean it's valid yet. That's completely like 10 steps away from paternity testing every single child.
Why is it incel-y though? You can say
The
that
incel-y part
it's
is this
too
idea.
much, but it's not incel-y.
The incel-y rhetoric is every single child needs to be paternity tested because women are these lying, conniving, money-grabbing whores
You're
who
adding
just want
that,
this. But that is the incel-y rhetoric that you see in these incel-y spaces, right? So you can remove it if you completely go out of context and say, hey, shouldn't every single case of child support be backed up by evidence? That's not really an incel-y statement out of context. The problem is the people that bring this up are the people that paint the narrative of, oh, it's because women are going to lie and we have to fact check every single woman, which is the incel-y rhetoric.
Okay, but did either one of us do that? Because you
No,
immediately
I
went
just
to
said it sounded
incel-y.
incel-y,
So,
but neither of
yeah,
you are incels, so.
all right, well, it sounded
But hold on,
adventurous for you.
hold on. The whole reason we're having this conversation is because you've accused me of saying things that I think are just true, right?
Would you bring this up just out of the blue as a societal problem, paternity testing and all
not out
children?
of the blue. Why would I do it
No,
out of the blue?
well, I just mean like, do you think this is a thing that like is a epidemic of women lying about fathers and they're scamming men and we need to fix this? Because that I would say is incel adjacent rhetoric. Yeah.
No, of course not. But you're missing my point here of saying that the reason why I think it's germane that Rabid brings this up as a point and then points out your reaction to it is
Mhm.
because the whole panel is because I was saying what I consider just clearly true things about the world You called it incel adjacent, and
Yep.
now we're here, right? So
Okay, so that's what I'm
Rabbit
saying.
here, Rabbit, just real quick.
This is an
Rabbit,
incel adjacent
hold
talking
on,
point.
hold on.
Rabbit validated it as you could say this without being incel. I agreed. And I'm asking you if you're bringing this up for any other reason other than we're already talking about birth certificates and not, hey guys, don't you think it's a huge deal that women lie on this all the time, which is a thing that happens, but absolutely not a huge deal and absolutely not that prevalent, then yeah, that's kind of incel-y rhetoric where you have this narrative of women being these lying, conniving people already in your head. That's why it's incel adjacent, not because out of context it is a thing that happens.
Lying, conniving bitches. Okay, just call them what they are.
Okay, but we didn't. We didn't, and you still went to incel.
But I think it's
How are
because
you
a
able
lot
to
of
have-
a lot of the
how-
men who
we're
talk
having a
about this stuff
conversation,
are
you
like
said.
a lot of the men who bring up the paternity test stuff do so to imply that women are mega whores and you should never trust your dumb bitch whore wife because she probably spread her legs for some dude. You know, like it's just
For
like
Whick.
For Wick.
Okay, but
Like again, like that's the only
is the
time I've
problem with
ever
me-
heard paternity tests come up ever is in the context of a guy being like, women are whores. You know?
Yeah, it's
Sure,
like, why are
but
you
is
bringing
me
it up
trying
as
to
a
have the
societal problem,
legitimate
Rabbit?
conversation and you thinking it's an incel talking point immediately and having that reaction, is that an issue with me or is that an issue with you?
No, Rabbit, it's an issue with the way that these things are brought up, right? So we're bringing this up in a incel adjacent conversation. Now, if you were to say, hey, I had this problem, my wife or my ex-girlfriend
Thank you,
or
Sigma
whatever is
Gabe.
committing paternity fraud, no one would say, oh, this is inceldom. But then your prescriptive claim is, we need to be checking every single woman with these paternity tests. That's kind of incel-y, and bringing it up as a societal problem when it's really not that big of a deal. It's a big deal in these cases individually, but this is not like a, hey, I have to platform this as my like politician, running a platform
Would this
because
be like
this is like such a huge thing that we need to fix when it's not that prevalent. That's why it's incel-y, because
It's important
you
to the
only
men
think it's
that it
prevalent.
happens to, though.
yeah?
It's
This is
very
this
important
is,
to those
hold
people,
on.
but it's hold on, no,
We
wait, let me finish.
acknowledge.
I have wait, let me just finish.
Finish your point.
It is prevalent to the people that it happens to. It is not a widespread thing that happens all the time in society. So if you bring it up as a societal problem, the reason it's incel-y is like, why do you think that this is such a common thing? Why are you painting women as these untrustworthy people and not, hey, this happened to me or this happened to my friend? That's why it's different.
Okay, so this is a good illustration of something that frustrates me in these conversations, because if a woman had brought up an incident or things that don't happen to them very often, it's pretty rare, but they're still really bad when they do, and then they advocated for a societal fix to this to say, okay, well, it's not going to be too much of a burden on men to have to do this thing, right? In these certain instances, we've been like, okay, that's a fair thing to ask. That
Can you give an
seems
example
reasonable.
of that though?
But when I or a Rabbit here are like, you know what, this is a problem. It doesn't happen tons of times, but it happens enough that maybe one of the solutions we should look at is mandatory paternal testing. Not because we think that all our women are whores or whatever, but it is just the truth that some people are bad actors. Some women are going to do this, and it's just like a safety measure for people. Because I don't how
again,
involved
and
all
to be
these
well,
clear,
solution is
it
ridiculous.
was to
It's like
add someone's
testing
name to a
welfare.
birth certificate
Like,
without their
tests were
consent.
Well,
some
yeah,
of
I
these
mean
tests were
that's
confusing
fair.
MRAs with
Yeah,
incels,
exactly.
which
It's
I think
fair.
is a fair point.
This is wondering,
If
is
there's
Wick
a
an
huge
MRA?
overlap.
But most
Men's
most
rights
fathers are
advocates.
present
MRA
at
is
the
men's
birth
rights
of their
advocate.
children. I don't know what the statistics are, but I don't think that most children born are only the most of the times the father is present. I don't know what the stats are. Do most
Yeah.
children come to this
Well, the
world
women are
without
always
fathers?
present.
I don't know
Well,
why we even need child support
thank
laws
you.
because there's no issue with male fathers.
What?
Okay, so Wick, I need you to answer the question, which is, what is an example of a woman bringing up a very minor thing that's not a big societal thing, and everyone treating it like it is, and not dismissing them? Because you know what? Show me that, I will dismiss them and say, hey, this sucks on your individual level. This is not a widespread thing.
So
No, don't dismiss them.
I will dismiss them. Women complain too much.
Based.
men complain too much too. But here's the thing. I think that child support laws are a pretty good one, right? We have
That is
very
a real
strict child
problem.
support law. Okay, hold on. Do you think most men leave their wives?
No,
and
This
abandoned their
is a
kid.
widespread problem for men in that child court is disproportionately sexist to men. They view men as, like bad caretakers. They view them as untrustworthy, and they will not give them custody in cases where they deserve custody. They will charge them and like make them pay child support when they shouldn't be in cases where they should actually be the ones who's taking care of the kid. This is a real thing that I think you should be advocating for, and that's not like an incel thing, because it is a widespread thing, because lots of people deals with it, and it's not painting women as untrustworthy. It's showing that courts are very biased against men, which is a very valid thing to talk about.
But I would look into that stat a little bit more as well, SoyPill, because there are stats to show that in a lot of the vast majority of cases when there is a divorce, most men don't even seek custody. They just
Yeah,
completely.
I've seen that too. I've seen that too.
My dad
Yeah.
got custody of me pretty easy, and my mom was paying child
Yeah,
support.
and in cases where men do seek child
Mhm.
not custody, where in cases where men do seek custody, they get it either full or partial, like 50% of the time.
Mhm.
So
Well, I'd say probably because in the situations where men are going to fight the stereotype that a child needs their mother more than their father in their daily life, they're probably fighting for custody because there's some egregious action happening, and that's going to make them a better candidate for the court to give them custody than the mother.
Or they love
That
their
is
kids.
that is very true.
Or they love
Sometimes
their kids, But
typically men
also-
get custody when the mother is like very
But also, like,
unwell.
why do so many men just like completely not, not even want custody, right? So
Because the child needs their mother.
Because they don't want to babysit their kids.
I was told my entire life a
Men
child
can
needs
lactate
their
too.
mother.
Children need
you know,
both of
men
their
should
parents in
lactate too.
actuality.
Men should lactate too. Men should
Yeah.
lactate.
I'm just gonna be
Shouldn't
honest. I'm just gonna be
breastfeeding.
honest with you guys. I haven't heard yet why my rhetoric is incel adjacent. I haven't been convinced. Do we
Whick
have
W.
stronger evidence?
Well, I can probably lace. I don't think it is, but I can give you an argument, I guess. But
If you
I don't
want.
think it is personally. I mean, and this is actually more to you, Rabidwombat, because you were asking, well, how is this incel? How is this incel to SoyPill a few times, and I just kind of put it like this, right? When you hear, let's say you come across somebody, you have no idea who they are, but they're talking about surplus value and the means of production, they're probably a Marxist. Probably. Not always, but probably. If you see someone talking about the Jews or did they really kill 6 million, they're probably a Nazi. Not always, but probably, right? If you come across somebody who's talking about cucking and paternity tests, they're probably an incel. Not always, but probably.
Okay, but part of the problem, and I agree, is that if you called me a men's rights advocate, as opposed to the women on this panel who are women's rights advocates, there is a completely different approach to me than there would be to them.
Well, I think that
Just
that's
the concept
because
of advocating for men puts you into that biased negative stereotype. And I think there's some value to that. I think it's a little earned. I'll give you that. But there needs to be some room for that conversation to happen with good actors. Whick is one of them.
I agree, but I also think that the difference is that women didn't have the same rights as men for a long time, so I think that the context is going to be different just because of the history behind it. And also, I would say that the majority of issues that men face systematically are a result of patriarchy. And I think it's good for men and women and anyone of any other gender to work together to...
What's the patriarchy?
I would say a system in which men hold power.
Which men?
Well, it depends on
Like
country
what
to country, but
percentage of
the wealthiest men typically.
Like,
Do you
I would
think we
agree that
live-
men and women are both victims of patriarchy, and it's the bulk of men and the bulk of women that are victims.
Do you
and
think
should
we
be
live
partners in
currently
defeating it.
today in a patriarchy?
Before Roe v. Wade was overturned, I would have said no, but we're sliding back quickly because access to abortion and birth control is like essentially the only way for women to be able to compete in the marketplace in the same way that men are. And so I think
Good
that
practice, Wick. We should debate what the meaning of patriarchy is for 2 hours.
Oh yeah,
God.
because you're gonna get stuck. Yeah, you're gonna be stuck doing that. So I do think before 2022, I would have said no. I think we have, in many ways, pretty much evened out equally But now I think we are back to square one.
Hey, men can't get abortions either, and I think that's
We're definitely not back to square one. We're definitely back to square
But
one.
like,
Men
I
do
feel
get
like,
abortions.
I don't know, I'm stressed out about it. I don't like it.
I do think that oh fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. Never mind.
It's
One
okay.
moment.
Rip.
$2 from Cersei to say, put me in after address these claims. We'll open it up later. Don't worry. I got time to kill tonight, right? So we might do that.
Oh, you know what?
I'm going to open my panel up to advice for men if anyone in the chat has questions after this. And Cersei, you're more than welcome to join, and we can talk about how you're not an incel, maybe.
I do remember what I was going to say now is I don't think it really matters if we call it like a patriarchy or not, right? I think the point is that for like the vast majority of history, like these terms like patriarchy, it doesn't matter, right? We can agree that like for the vast majority of history, a disproportionate amount, well, most women and most men, right? Vast majority of women and most men as well, were oppressed by people who generally like had more power than them, right? And the people who held that power were in general men, right? So yeah,
Okay.
Married
What
men.
kind of men?
Married
yeah.
men.
$5 from Pebblekeeper to say, I don't believe that anyone on this panel screws. Really, Pebblekeeper? Not a single one of us?
Is it the wolf shirt?
Screws? TC's like,
I have a
hashtag.
girlfriend. I have a girlfriend, man.
Screw.
I
make
have
love.
a child. I have
I don't know
evidence
what
of
a-
at least
This
having
person-
sex
this
once.
person is right. It is completely sealed up. It is like there's nothing there now. It's sealed.
$10 from Alexander Rin to say, how do you stop the state from taking your genetics and using them for other purposes?
That's
What the-
true. I feel
How
like
is
the
that
conspiracy.
related?
No. It's because he's like the paternity test thing. If it's mandatory, he'd be more worried about the state using your genetics than he would be about women lying about the paternity test. And you know what? I honestly think that's a valid concern.
Well, I mean, because if your third cousin did 23andMe, it's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty
I
much.
You're
I
stuck.
Don't know,
The
like,
state
people
has
are
it.
Giving up their,
Yep.
keep giving up
Listen,
their-
chat. Just give Trump your cum. Do it right now.
I'm sending it to him
Do
in the
not
mail.
come.
Do not
Do
come.
not come.
Do not.
Okay, I just want to say
They're not
to
sending their
women-
best.
to the few women that are in this chat, okay? And I'm about to okay?
All
No
three of
offense,
them.
Whick, but to the few women that are in this in these
All three of them, and they're all on the panel. But
three
go
of
ahead.
them, you should not date men with high body counts because their penises
True.
worn down and they become cone shaped from all the shit chafing. So you should really be.
They get all squished. Yeah.
Worn out. Men
They
are
turn-
worn out.
It's like literally a cone. It's like it's horrifying. It's
And it
terrible.
comes out like cottage cheese. It's just.
And
You
they're
actually-
incapable of pair bonding after two partners.
Mhm.
Men are
They
just
are.
used up.
Mhm.
I actually stand on that. We should shame men with high body counts. It's actually kind
I
of
agree with
disgusting.
that. I actually do agree with you on that
Yeah.
Mooncake, because I think actually in reality, like it is
What's
harder
a high
for
body
men
count for a man?
in general, it is harder for men to get laid than women, right? And if a man has a very high body count, that probably means that he's
Okay, what's a high body
This is the
count?
same conversation we were having in
more than
private
12.
Stardust.
let me finish.
More
Let
than
me finish.
12.
Yeah, and men it's harder for men to get laid, and that means that they have a high body count. I don't know what a high I don't know if I would say 12, but yeah,
12?
I understand Mooncake's point. If they have a
At what
high body
age?
count, it is more likely that they are not practicing any discretion in the people that they're sleeping with, and they are not practicing any they're not practicing the ideas of commitment. Why the fuck would they stay committed to me if they have a habit of just
Okay.
sleeping around with whoever they want to and practicing no
Okay, but
discretion?
12 isn't high, especially if you're like 30. That's not.
What's high? What's high, Stardust? What's high?
I
I
don't
think
I say like 50's high. That's like a high body
50
count.
is high.
Yeah, if you're
right?
like
I think
30 and
50
you've
is high.
slept with
Holy
like
cow.
50 people, I'm like, whoa.
It's going to be subjective to each person. I think it's going to be subjective to each person.
What if you
Based
had one
on their
orgy and
age.
got married? Like that's
One
How
orgy.
big was the
just
orgy?
One orgy.
50 people. You hit all of them.
Okay, but what if
You go to
we
AL's
decided to
birthday
take
party? What
everyone's
went on? Right?
What if we took everyone's advice and decided not to get married until we were 30, but we didn't decide to be nuns until then, and we just decided to have some casual encounters once a month for 10 years? You're at 100.
Yeah,
Once
but
a month
how
for
much
10 years is a lot.
how much discretion are you practicing there,
Yeah.
right? Like
I'm at least once a month. I'm being discreet.
Yeah, he's vetting them for 3 weeks and fucking them on the 4th. And
No,
then...
it's
I-
gross.
wait,
Like,
hold
how
on.
often are you getting
This seems
tested?
like moralizing sex.
You lack like
I'm here for it.
self-control. I think it's
Yeah,
just like they should
self-control.
be shamed. It's like I don't know. If you can't
I
control
have
yourself,
met-
Whores.
Look,
I
all
have
I'm
met
saying
like
is,
sex
without
addicts
knowing
before that
everyone's
are
body count
really.
on this panel, we shouldn't shame body counts.
Oh, look,
No,
here's
I'm
over
here
12.
for it. As
Good.
the pseudo-conservative, I am here for the
Let's
shame
reveal
the
the
whores
hold on.
rhetoric.
I
Go
think
ahead.
12 is actually a pretty good number. I
Yeah,
agree with
12 is a good
Mooncake.
number.
12
I feel like 12's
solid for
pretty
men.
normal.
I think my point is that I actually think I don't know if
Well, no,
shaming.
Mooncake says anyone over 12, right?
Yeah, anyone over 12.
Anyone
It's
over
just-
12, yeah.
Maybe not
That's
shaming,
the
but
limit.
you should be highly suspicious of men, and you should vet them very, very heavily if they have a high body
Yeah.
count. Because
So-
it could be the case that they're just magnetically charismatic, or it could be that they have no fucking discretion. They
No.
don't practice any self control, and they will literally sleep with anything. And why the fuck would they stay committed
And
to
they'll
it?
never be
Anything
satisfied.
that
They'll never be
moves.
satisfied.
You're literally describing a 30-year-old that had one partner a year since they were 18, and you're calling them some fire hose dick whore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't
Like
seem
when I think
fair.
about high body count, I knew a man that was a sex addict that would sleep with like he slept with like 8 people in a weekend once. That to me is like living a life
Yeah,
like that.
I know some like triple-digit people. And that's
Where
like,
it's like
holy
that's
shit,
kind of
like,
crazy.
Mhm.
I think it's different for gay people though. I know a lot of gay people with crazy high body
Why?
counts, but it's different in the gay
Why
community.
though?
If anything,
Why?
Because okay,
maybe
listen to me,
it's really
listen to
opposite.
me, listen to me.
Men working with
Men have very, very, very high libidos typically and have less discretion, and there's less of an issue with like you might kill each other. Like straight women typically sleep with men less because the dude could probably kill you, you know? But if you're 2 dudes and all the dudes want to fuck and it's normal and there's a pretty much equal strength thing going on, I think it makes sense that you fuck like crazy. Like I have very very rarely been like, when I've slept with women, I have rarely been like, should I do this? Is this dangerous for me? Blah blah blah. I just go for it. With men, I'm like, I don't know about this one. I don't want to die. I just feel
I
like it
never
makes
thought of
sense.
putting whoring into weight classes,
there's,
but now
like,
you've intrigued me.
I mean it. I do. I mean it. It's like it.
I don't know if
So-
I necessarily agree on that aspect. I think that it just, when it comes to different demographics, obviously men working with men, they're going to have more sex, right? Like men want sex more often. They're going to have sex
Mhm.
more often because they're all
I
men
mean,
working.
I've
But
never met a woman who enthusiastically engages in sex. To be clear,
No, that's not what I'm saying. You're being okay. What I'm
no, I'm
saying
just
is
being stupid.
you're being okay. So what I'm saying is, like, you should be suspicious, right? If a dude
Yeah.
practices, 12 is not a number that I would choose. I think that what Charlie is saying, like 8 people in a week, is like is gross to me. But
Oh, a weekend. A weekend.
Well, I'm
2
considering
days.
Weekend,
It's
yeah.
like, it's like, if I don't know if you guys have heard of like human papillomavirus. It's usually a virus that men carry, and they'll give it to women, but women get cervical cancer, so they get a lot of cancers from those things. So when I talk about men sleeping around, it's actually just a danger to women itself.
Yes.
Just talk about like heterosexual
Get
relationships,
the
right?
vaccine. Get vaccinated.
And
Start a
so-
second
Okay.
time.
So
Okay.
still
how
carries
many
that.
women?
I got
Like how many married women think that their husbands are being like faithful to them, and like on the low, like their husband is like going and seeing prostitutes and stuff. Like yeah, it happens quite often.
Don't date married
Actually, wait,
men.
Yeah.
I got a question for SoyPill real quick. So you talk about the orgy, okay? Let's say you have there's an orgy of 50 people, but
Okay.
of the 50 people in the orgy, you only have sex with say 10 of them. Is your body count now 10 or 50?
10. Just
10?
because you
Okay.
watched 40 people have sex doesn't mean you didn't.
wait. If we're
you fucked all
counting
of them.
watching people have sex as body count, then
No, we're not. Is the
Then
point.
we're all in the
Okay.
thousands,
But-
probably. We're all in the thousands.
okay.
We're all
let's-
My
whores.
ancestors smile down upon me knowing the amount of boobs I've seen. To be honest.
Yes.
Let's keep making me a little more money. Okay, $5 from Ace to say an entire stream without SoyPill making Tolly lick his boots to prove how loyal she is. Downvoted. Stream is backsliding. Step up the hate, bros. She's
my
on
God.
vacation. Otherwise, I guarantee that would probably come to be the
That is
topic.
lesbian abuse, SoyPill. I can't believe it.
Hey,
Yeah,
look,
that's crazy.
I learned it from watching them.
Okay, $2 from Lithium.
That statistic isn't accurate, by the way, because I'm pretty sure that study
That's pretty based.
applies to like even relationships that they had before they came out.
I think the statistic of
Yeah, I think
lesbian
it does
abuse
too,
has
actually,
more
yes.
to do with the fact that lesbians are more likely to report abuse. So
That is also true, but again, it could also include heterosexual relationships
Yeah, before
that they had
decided
in the
they're lesbian,
past. Yeah.
Yeah,
As
fair
Jess
Well,
point.
was saying,
came
women
out.
complain more.
Somebody,
and
in
women
my-
complain more. True.
Somebody in my chat asked a question. They said, "What if you just put a dick in your mouth at the orgy for a second, for like a single second?"
It counts as one body.
That's
here,
one?
I'll say this.
I don't
single
think
second
so. I
do
think
it.
you have to
Wait,
have
wait,
the
Star,
dick in
Star,
there
this
for a
is
lot
Star.
longer.
If you put
No,
50,
if
if
you
you
put it
asked
in
your
your mouth
girlfriend, if you asked your girlfriend or
at all.
boyfriend, hey, like, what's your body count? And they said 2, and then they said, but I put 50 dicks in my mouth for 1 second at a time each. Would that not feel like that was a kind of a burying the lead?
Yeah, it was a lie. That's a lie.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
Burying
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
$2.
burying a dick in the mouth, of
Doesn't
course.
matter
Yeah.
if it's 1 second, it counts. Okay.
Yep.
I think that counts.
$2 from Lithium to say paternity fraud also hurts the children. True. $5 from Mr. Wise Guy Plays to say the soy pill thinks it's not a big deal whether a guy is going to have to spend the next 18 years of his life paying child support. He's delusional.
That's not
No
what I
one
said. To be
said
clear,
that.
I do think it's a big deal when people commit paternity fraud. It is unfair, it is unjust, and the court is more likely to let women get away with it when they do it. The thing I'm saying is that this does not happen very frequently, and I don't think we need a societal-wide solution of paternity testing every child, because I think doing that is indicative of a ideology that women are these like lying, conniving people when this does happen, but it does not happen that often. It's still a problem.
Okay.
And to be fair, that was not the argument that was made. The argument that was made was that you either need the man to consensually sign it, or if you want to put the name on there without consent, you would need to back it up with a paternity test.
And I agree. I think you should back it up with a signature. If the man doesn't want to be on the thing, he doesn't need a whole genetic test to say, "Hey, that's not my signature." You know, just take it to court. It should take not a lot of time.
Yeah, I don't think he should
Hold
be
on, just
compelled to
real quick.
provide a genetic
Should
test.
I didn't say.
Okay, in the chat, someone just said 1/3 isn't a lot to soy pill. So I've gone into this myself on my channel, and there is a stat floating around that says that 30% of men are raising kids that aren't theirs. However,
Against their will?
people in like the MRA community or whatever, they miscite that stat all the time, because what it actually is 30% of men who have had a paternity test are raising kids that are not theirs. And if you're getting a paternity test, you already think that maybe she's cheated on you, so it's gonna be more selecting in that direction. It's actually
Oh.
much less than 30%.
Great pivot, Dev, Wick. I don't know if you can find a way to shoehorn this in, but did you know that Andrew Wilson's wife has like 3 kids from 2 different marriages before?
I thought it
marrying
was
him? And,
3.
I
Wasn't
think-
it 3
I
baby
didn't-
daddies?
There's
I'm
so many-
not going to bring up people's families in a Christian debate like that. I just
think
don't
it's
do that.
hilarious. Not because I think there's anything wrong
Wait,
with
who's
that. I
this?
think This is Andrew Wilson. His wife has
Oh,
like a
big
bunch
papa
of kids.
fascist,
out of-
eh?
Yeah.
Mm.
So it's like I think that's fine, but his entire ideology would paint him as a beta male cuck for doing that. So I think it's funny that he is in a marriage where that happened.
Yeah, I find that distasteful. To use as a debate tactic, but $10
enough.
from Alexander Rin. If you want private testing, who pays for it? How do you stop companies from jacking up their prices now that it's mandatory? $5
Universal
from
testing.
$5
We have
from
universal
Chernobog
healthcare here.
Rebellion to say the assumption that men are more violent than women and men have to act accordingly to not put out bad vibes. Soy pill. Y'all talked about that earlier. This was all in caps, but yeah.
That's empirically true. Men are more violent than women, or at least cause more damage. Like I don't know what you want.
Zephyr Hash for $5 to say, for your info, rates of cheating in France are so high that paternal testing is banned there. So it can and has.
Yeah, but that's
have-
France,
don't
man.
have-
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, they every time they breathe, they're fucking a different maid or something. Like it's not.
That's like cheating is like the thing to do there, evidently. Like, I don't know.
Why is it banned though? Like that, it would.
It
you
would
would
destroy
think
it.
that would
It's
make
like
it-
the reason they don't release the Epstein files. The entire government would just fall apart once everyone knew.
Yeah, it's don't ask, don't tell for cheating.
True.
$5 from Ace to say, if you come across someone that is okay with PDF files on their Discord, they're probably a PDF file. Nice logic, Dev. Thank you for the $5.
Oh my god! Wait, is that Ace? This guy's been stalking me for over a fucking year. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know you had a stalker.
I have many of them.
Wow.
I have many of
I
them.
retract my earlier statement that say women are the only ones with stalkers, which is a thing I
no,
said. I
that's not
believe.
true.
No, men
Right.
do get stalkers, and I
No,
don't
I'm
want to
joking. I
discount
know
the
that's
fact
not-
that like. Okay, sorry. I know
to be
male
honest-
streamers who have had people be really creepy to them. It just happens way less often than female streamers getting creeps on them.
I don't know if that's
I've had like
true.
I've had
No, it
dozens
is.
of
It
dedicated
is.
fucking A-logging haters solely because I came out as explicitly anti-Trump.
But
It's
do they
fucking
want to
ridiculous.
fuck
Be
you?
clear,
Do they
it's
want
haters,
to
it's not-
grape
yeah, it's not
you?
these,
Do
like-
they want to
it's not these
grape you?
Psychotic rapists, yeah. Like
I mean,
it's
some
a
of them
little-
will
no.
rape me, but it's
Haters
not normal.
can
No.
be super. Okay, I don't know if that's exactly true, Charlie. I don't have statistics on this.
Wick, has
But I
anyone
think
made
that-
AI porn of you?
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, same here, actually. Same here, yeah.
Now that you mention it,
That's
I'm doing it
crazy.
right now.
It is, and I think that as you get to a certain level of notoriety, man or woman, you're just going to be subject to that shit, right? Like,
Yeah,
and
but
that's-
like I think like
unfortunate.
you can't just.
what's the Tumblr link?
I'm not going to give you. I'm not going to show you my AI.
I will say for women, I do think it happens a lot earlier, where you get like psycho people who keep showing up. You know.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
It's also like I mean like okay, if I open up my DMs on Twitter or Instagram, it's full of people begging to see me naked or to look at their penis or to tell them that their
Why are you
penis is
leaking my
small.
DMs, okay?
All right, well stop asking, Wick. I'm sick of it. But like, is that your DMs? Is like, please tell me my weenie's small. Please, can I buy your nudes?
Oh, no,
Please,
that's not
goddess,
mine.
please poop on me. Like, is that because that's all my
He doesn't say
Instagram
please.
requests and Twitter DM requests. Like, I hate it.
I
I'm
think,
sick
you
of
know,
it.
I think the thing that bothers me is when you intentionally block people multiple times on multiple platforms, and then they go around those blocks and continue.
Oh my
to
god,
harass you.
to just
And-
find
and
you.
it's not,
Yep,
and it's
yep,
not like
yep.
it's not like positive. Like it's really negative and really gross stuff that they say to you,
Yes,
right? Like
Mhm.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
really wear on you.
$20 from Dr. Adam Refriended says a lot of incels, quote unquote, are treating women as equals, calling for DNA tests, pointing out double standards, etc. Labeling that incel things proves women live on easy mode, where society excuses and protects them no matter what.
What the
Wick, do you
hell are
agree
you
with that? Do
talking
you agree with
about?
that,
No,
Wick?
I don't.
Okay, cool. That's more incel Jason than anything you've
Okay.
said, to be clear.
But but that's my whole point. I'm gonna get through these. But yes, that's my whole point. Was when you call my incel when you call my rhetoric incel adjacent, I think it's.
You know what? Yeah, to be clear, I'll say this. After this conversation, just to wrap up, I think I am much less concerned about my friend treading into incel territory. I think you like teeter on the line, not of being an incel, but being outside of what I would consider a completely out of the Venn diagram of incel. It's like, oh, you just like poked your head out into the incel room and like
Just a tip.
whispered an incel-y thingy, but you're not even close to being an incel.
Just the tip. Okay.
Just the tip, yeah.
$5 from Jordan Rogers to say, wouldn't mandatory paternity tests mean that if it is your kid, then it is your responsibility? Doesn't this also protect mothers from derelict dads?
I mean, yeah, in
$5.
situations where that's like, something like a situation between two
Like a
people,
dispute.
like a dispute. Yeah, but not like, your wife gave birth
Yeah.
and then you're like, okay, paternity test, like I would leave someone if they did that to me. I'd be like, the fuck? I just gave birth to your fucking child. Fuck
To
Yeah,
be
you.
never
clear,
heard
if,
of
if,
that
if there was
anyway.
a completely costless, like as soon as it happens, you just immediately know who the dad is way to do this, I think there's probably like very good arguments for that. There's no reason not to. But this is just like means testing like welfare and saying like, oh, we should drug test every welfare recipient. It costs a fuck ton of money. Most of these people aren't doing drugs. And even though I don't want people on welfare to be doing drugs, it just does not make sense to implement this societal wide test that doesn't really fix the problem and actually ends up just causing more problems than it is. But ideally, if we could just know and like make sure people don't dodge child support, make sure that people aren't getting charged child support that shouldn't be, yeah, of course, it's just not feasible.
Okay.
It's a silly solution.
$5 from the Pulse to say, do women realize that men with high body counts are normally the guys that they are attracted to?
No.
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 Okay.
I mean,
$5.
they're the ones fucking. So
Yeah, I mean,
the
At least all
data
the celebrities,
lies,
yeah.
right? So
Well, I mean, there's like, I guess like with men, there's people you're chill to sleep with and people you would, not date. Maybe you'd sleep with them, but you wouldn't date them.
Yeah,
Women
exactly.
are
There's
just
men.
intimidated that
Whores.
men have game. That's all I'm
I
saying.
feel like we put men in categories where like there's a men that like you'll hook up with, but you would never marry them. And those are
'Cause
usually
they're
like I'm gonna be honest, the
whore.
high body count men. It's like yeah, we can fool around, but would I marry you? No, you're not marriage material.
Wait.
Okay,
So
well, let
you
me
can
ask
have a
you-
high body count because you're fucking all these guys with high body counts, so that's fine. But you wouldn't marry them. But should people not judge you then by the same metric that you're judging these men?
His
Wait,
body
wait,
count
wait,
is your
say it
body
again?
count.
A man
You said
with a high body count. I would not sleep with a man with that
No,
high.
I'm
of a
asking
body.
Mooncake. You guys clearly aren't in alignment here.
wait, sorry. Wait. So repeat your question. I didn't hear
So
the first
you'll
part.
sleep with a man with a high body count, but you won't marry him because he does have a high body count. Now, I'm assuming if you will do this, you must also have at least some sort of high body count because you're sleeping with people that you wouldn't
It
marry at some sort of
depends.
frequency.
It's like if you meet someone who does, but you're kind of like you know this about them, but you're kind of like, okay, like we can talk, like like a situationship. Sure, but it's like I'm not gonna progress any further with this guy because like
Gross.
no, he's not marriage material.
Yeah, but that's
Okay.
still +1 on your number, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's why you have to like
didn't
kind
count
of
because I
keep your
didn't like
number.
So you
keep your
selectively
number at a
sleep
good
with men
thing.
you wouldn't marry, and then get married at the end of it.
Wait, say that again?
You're selectively kind of being a little choosy about very high body count men that you'll
Love
sleep
that
with
Soy's
here and
attacking
there,
a woman now.
and then
Yeah, I'd
you'll
be
get
like really
married.
selective about it. If it's like a guy who's like, oh, this guy's cool, like he's funny, whatever. Just if I'm like super
I'm becoming an incel right now. This is the
and then like
alt
yeah,
incel
I
punchline.
might.
This
This is-
stream.
yeah,
But
now
it
I'm an
wouldn't just be
incel.
with like a bunch of random men. No, of course not. But there's gonna be like those, people who stand out. But no, I would never marry one. No, of course
Well,
not.
let me ask you this
What I
question.
will
I think
say-
eliminates some stuff, right? Who would you avoid? A man with an acceptable body count that has had 12 one-year relationships, or a man with a body count of 12?
12 1-year relationships. Probably. Oh, actually, that's a good question. I don't know. Maybe. Oh, I don't know. Having 12 relationships like that is a little questionable of why they ended each year.
What if they're 60?
Yeah,
So maybe
right?
just the one with 12 bodies, maybe.
Because I
Actually,
think
sure.
serial monogamy is scarier than someone who's maybe
Yeah.
just slept with one person a year. If you're just going relation to relation, that's scary. That's weird. What's going
Yeah,
on?
like I think
Why
I
can't
think
you
that's
be
a
alone?
bigger predictor of problems in a relationship than how many people someone has slept with.
What I'm talking about, like for me, like my standard, and obviously this is like a personal thing, would be 12. If someone has 15, I'm not really gonna complain. My issue, and I'm gonna be like honest, is once you get up to like 30 plus, it just says to me that you just have no like self-control. And that's like, just a big red flag. That's just like if you are constantly sleeping around, it's like, can I trust you? Are you a very, I don't know, trustworthy person? Are you someone who can be satisfied with just having one person for maybe the rest of your life? I don't really think so personally. And I think we see men specifically struggle with that when they do have high body counts.
So let me share a little bit of my personal history.
You guys hate me making
No
you
doxing.
hate it.
Sorry.
Hate
sorry.
it. Okay, but go ahead.
Just really quick. So in my 20s, I was very emotionally unavailable, and I did date around. And then when I hit 30, I had a crisis point where I was like, oh my God, I've thrown away the love of several very good women. I've spent a lot of time just like hooking up and stuff like that. What if that was every good woman that was ever going to be put in front of me? And from that point on, I dated with intent for marriage. And within I had like 2.5 year relationship that broke up because she didn't want kids and I did. And then at that point, I met my wife and I went on from there. My body count is higher than what you would deem acceptable based on my 20s. But I think the mindset that you would want in a partner is what I had in my 30s. And you would have written me off based off of the number from my 20s as opposed to the man that I evolved to in my 30s.
I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible to evolve. I don't think that'd be fair, but I do think like seeing that would just be a future predictor. Where unfortunately there are a lot of men, and I can like even use like unfortunately one of my brothers, for example, that I know is in like the triple digits, that will never be able to have like a stable relationship in that way, even being a lot older. Because it's like once you get to like I think those higher body counts, you just really can't help yourself. And I'm not saying that's everyone, right? I do think you can change. Well, some men can change, but I think on average I would say it just is a future predictor. And I think it's just easier to find someone that maybe has certain values that you're kind of looking for. And I wouldn't want someone who sees sex as just like, I don't know,
Well,
like shopping around, if that makes sense.
Here's
Yeah.
what we're gonna do. Hold on, real quick. Here's what we're gonna do. Okay. I'm gonna finish up these super chats. We're gonna get closing statements, and then we're gonna open up the panel. You can stay if you like, but you don't have to. How's that? Everything
Oh,
good?
can you drag a Zerson when you're done?
Yeah, absolutely. He's
Sick.
he's
Okay.
gonna be a thing. Okay. $5 from the Pulse to say because of women. Hold on. Stop. Hold on. Because of
Wagon.
women obsession with height, should women expect guys who are 6 feet or taller to automatically have a side chick?
Now, I want to actually, can I rant about the height stuff a little bit? Can I rant about it a little bit?
Briefly.
I am 5'6", and when I date men, I like them about my height. I like a short guy. I don't really care for tall men. My dad is really tall. I feel like I already have a tall man. It's my dad, and so every time a man
Charlie,
is
you
above 6
cannot
feet, I'm like,
complain about
oh, your
DMs
boob is
being
there.
exploding, and then say I like short, unconventionally attractive men. You're just you.
All
are
right,
asking for it.
whatever.
I'm
I
sorry.
mean, maybe
Ricky,
what?
get in
Not
there.
for the. Anyway, okay. But the thing is that a lot of very tiny women, like 5'3" and under, do not recognize when a man is 6 feet and above because they will have boyfriends. I had a friend who was 5'3". Her boyfriend was my height, and she was like, "Yeah, he's like 5'9", and I was like, "No, the fuck, he's not." And you can't tell because you're itty bitty boo boo baby size. And that's okay, but the thing is that the dating apps make it, create the 6 foot preference because then you can tell. I guess anyway. My point is I think that the height thing is that in an era in which there is economic equality for the most part between men and women, I think that cisgender women and cisgender men, heterosexuals, want to recreate. They want to artificially manufacture extreme visual sexual difference because it arouses them. And it's the only way that they can nut. So that's what they're doing. That's why they like the weird height disparities, is because they need to manufacture an extreme difference because it makes them horny because there's no longer economic inequality. Anyway, that's my fucking theory. That's my theory. This is my theory.
Just so I get this right. Hold on, no. Because there's no longer economic inequality, we need to recreate the inequality, but in height, so we can nut.
I don't fucking do this. I don't do this, but there are absolutely cisgender heterosexual women and men who participate in this. Are you telling me I'm wrong? Listen, I had that fucking tweet. I had that insane tweet that got millions and millions of views, and it was full of tiny women telling me why they only like big men, and that was my conclusion, is they want to feel like itty bitty boo boo baby. Itty bitty boo boo babies. They want to feel tiny because it makes them horny.
Okay.
It makes them horny.
Can I just say, yeah? Can I just say, just for a white pill for a lot of guys in the audience, I know plenty of women who, and I always thought I found that standard really stupid myself. I'd be like, why do you need like a guy who's over 6 foot? I know
That's
plenty of
you're
women
like
who are
4'2" though.
I need that.
I'm not 4'2". I am not 4'2". Anyways, what I'm saying is, I've known plenty of women who are like around 5'1", 5'2", right? Who who would tell me all the time, like, oh, I want a guy who's 6 feet or taller. And so many of them ended up marrying guys who were the same height as them. I know one girl in particular who married a guy who is like an inch shorter than her. So, like it just,
Yeah.
get off the dating apps, I would say. Like,
All
Yeah.
guys
Any
are
guy out there,
taller.
guys, if you're worried about a woman writing you off, first of all, I'm like 5'10" probably. And if I've never had this be a problem, because any woman who would not date you because you're not tall enough, you don't want to date. It's just not worth it. That's a totally
Yep,
shitty reason.
that's
to do it.
true.
True.
As an actual pretty short guy, yes,
When you
definitely true.
meet somebody in person, when you meet somebody in person and you have chemistry, honestly, all those standards go out the window. They really do.
$10 from Alexander Rin to say we should add men's body count to every subsequent woman they sleep with. That's more likely to indicate risk of STD. Women would start avoiding those men immediately.
Is this fucking Death Note where like, they get the years when you kill someone
Yeah,
with
it's
Death Note?
the cumulative body count of every man you've slept with is your real body count.
True. $20 from Dr. Adam Refriended to say, LOL, this is hilarious. Star talking about high body counts and other women and simp pill dudes agreeing with them, basically agreeing with incels, but since women are saying it, it's fine. Says a lot about these people. Shake my head. Okay?
Yeah,
God.
to be honest, both
Why-
Star and Mooncake's body count rhetoric is incel adjacent as
No,
well. In fact, we should probably
my
put
God.
them
I
on
just
trial.
said that I think like sex addicts are kind of
Can I just
crazy.
explain my reasoning for this? My reasoning is one. Again, I will say I disagree with Mooncake on the 12 thing. I think that you have to kind of evaluate on a like
Give a number.
recent time basis. No,
Give a
like
number.
recent time ba-
12's
yeah,
a bit low. Let's be honest. 12's a bit low.
12 is so low. 12 is
Guys,
super
the
low.
average for most people is like 4 to 8, men and women. Just to be clear, like
This is
Whoa.
okay.
8 people in a week. Like you want to look at like a shorter term.
No,
and
a
more
weekend.
recent, right?
It was in a weekend. It was 8 people in a
I'm not
weekend, which
talking
was
bare people,
crazy.
Charlie. I'm not
Oh,
talking
okay.
I'm
But I was
talking about
scared.
my standard. My standard is
Mhm.
like if you're sleeping
8
with
a
like
week?
8 people in a week, that's yeah, you're kind of being
That's crazy.
really
That's fucking crazy. Yeah.
yeah, even 5 a week, you know, like or
Oh.
you know, like
Every day
Yeah.
that Y ends on Y and twice on Sunday, right? Like
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't like that. Like and I think the reason why I think that is like there's a little like I think obviously it's a problem when women do it too, right? But like you want to look at like recent and like short periods of time and like why are they doing this, right? And there's always going to be exceptions to the cases, but like yeah, people who kind of engage in that really risky behavior. It's a red flag, and it should be a red flag. Man
My
or
body
woman,
count
but
is
I do think
22.
that
I'm
for
feeling like
men,
the whore of
because it's
Babylon
harder to
right
get
now.
laid, it is a little bit more of a red flag.
I got 4 super chats more to go through. Right, let's get through them and let's get to closings. Let's open up the pit. Okay, $2 from Ace to say Ace is hardly an uncommon name. Dev, you dolt. $5.
No. Was I bamboozled?
I guess I don't know. $5 from Audacity to say the only time Wick is incel adjacent is when he talks to us in the Discord.
oh, so you're hiding your power level, buddy. Okay.
Mm.
$10 from Dr. Adam Refriended to say I'm confused. Simp pill. How does treating women as equals, as actual people, make it incel adjacent? How can you interpret my super chat as being close to incel rhetoric?
So is he the one who said we need to paternity test every single woman?
Yeah,
like when they give
I
birth?
think so. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, first of all, it's not treating women as equals because it's impossible to paternity test a woman because of course she gave birth unless you like did a
Well,
fetus swap at some
I've
point.
also
So this is stupid.
been
But also
active
because
for
the
a
implication
very
says
long
many
time,
times that
so
if we need to do that, it's because we need to litmus test every single woman.
if
We
we're
need to dump
considering
all this
when
money
I
into these
started
tests
being
because so many of
active,
them are conniving. The incel adjacent stuff is the idea that you think
hold
this
on,
is
let me do
some
math.
huge epidemic problem of women lying about it when it's a problem that just doesn't happen that much.
Okay.
I mean,
So you do end up having babies switched around in hospitals, right? So maybe you should be testing women too.
what if we make a compromise where okay, men it's required for this paternity
So since I
test,
started
like,
being
when you give
sexually
birth
active,
for a
I've
birth
slept with
certificate, but
approximately
men every month have to get
1.375
STD tested
people a year.
for the rest of their lives if they're married.
Why not both?
I mean, that's
STD test.
I don't know
Yeah,
what
I think
to
both of them
I don't know
should,
what to
honestly.
tell you. It's not that much.
I
Yeah,
got
both.
HPV from a woman once. All right, she was the one giving around, despite what Mooncake is saying. Women spread disease. They're cootie infested freaks.
Yeah,
The-
who do you
the-
think
they
the men are
worship
getting it
Nurgle.
from, right?
Okay.
It's not their gay lover.
Okay, last one.
Well, maybe.
$5 from the Pulse to say my point is the guy who is 6 foot tall, good at talking to women, who has decent money, are more likely to have a high body count. Thank you for $5. And with that,
Damn.
let's get closings from people because I know some people have to go, and then we'll open it up and.
Actually, before that, if you don't mind, I do want to ask Charlie something. A couple
ahead.
minutes ago, Charlie, you said something along the lines of dating is now being funneled through height or other things because capitalism has led to basically wage equality between men and women. Was that basically it?
No. My point is that my theory is that I think height has become a much more important metric is because one, dating apps have turned people into data points, and dating apps are, sort of, I mean, very much a for-profit sort of invention. But also, I think it is because with the absence of economic inequality, I do think that many men and women still kind of want to be. Oh, Star, you're echoing a little bit.
Oh, sorry. I forgot.
Still want to be like have a sort of power dynamic of some kind. And I would say in it not necessarily a harmful way. I think maybe oftentimes in like a fun, playful way. I know a lot of women who make a lot of money who do want a man who is much bigger and stronger than them because sometimes they do want to feel like a little lady. And they don't want to feel like a high-powered, high-earning woman. And so again, I do think that is why the height thing has become so important. I think that people are trying to manufacture sexual difference to affirm their gender identities. I think that heterosexual people do this a lot. I think it is literally gender affirmation for the heterosexuals.
I
Okay.
just don't know about it. The economic bit is what's throwing me. Okay.
Well, it's
Well,
a
what I
sense. It's like
heard-
what? Okay, in an era in which I would say that gender is. I don't want to get into a trans debate, please, for the love of God. But I would say that that gender is, primarily, performed through certain roles. I mean, we have gender roles. Traditionally, it would be women would do child rearing and domestic chores and whatnot, and men would do, work outside of the home. We don't really have that split anymore. We have in our behaviors, and in our roles that we take on, we have all become very, very androgynous. And so I do think that for people to affirm their gender, heterosexual people, I do think that they want to kind of manufacture some sort of difference so that they do feel like women or like men in some capacity, if that makes any sense.
It does actually, because what you were saying reminded me of a paper I might have read maybe 3 weeks ago or so, and it's basically by a guy he's a Marxist, but he's also right wing, and he's also a red pillar. I was like, okay, all right. But I read this paper, and his
Pick the
hypothesis is
struggle,
basically,
honestly, but go
Yeah,
ahead.
good God.
yeah. So his hypothesis basically is that feminism has ended up accelerating capitalist inequality between the classes, because beforehand, in the pre-feminist society, you would have men who they'd marry down, and then they'd have families that are basically across class between high value men and then lower value women. But now, rather than doctors and lawyers marrying their secretaries, doctors and lawyers marry other doctors and lawyers. So because we have gender equality in the workplace, the family units that come out of the pairings they're created now end up stratifying class difference a lot more. And so his solution to bring about class equality is to abolish feminism.
So I would disagree strongly with the idea that people would marry across class lines, because I mean it was very much people would only marry within their class. Like the idea, the sort of pretty woman scenario is in fact a very rare one. That's why all the kind of romantic, fun Jane Austen novels are like, oh, and she was an like of the noble class, but she was not as noble and rich as him. Like, like fucking Pride and Prejudice. Like these are still people who make a shit ton of money, but she doesn't make as much of a buttload fuck ton of money as Mr. Darcy. Like people do very much marry within their classes, and they always have. Like I feel like that's a very, very common misconception.
In
And
fact, it's an incel point to bring up this idea that
Yeah.
like, oh, average women, 5s and 6s, can just get picked up by these Instagram influencers and flown out to these islands, when in reality it's a very, very, very small subset of the very, very, very most attractive women. And most people do just kind of date
Hold
within
on.
their look spans and their class.
Yeah.
Didn't we
Hold on.
just make that
And
argument for
like
women
most
streamers with their ugly boyfriends? Like, didn't we just make the
That is
inverse
also an
argument?
incredibly small subset, as we
that's a weird
not
weird
reality.
phenomenon, and I have a lot of theories about that I could talk about at length, but I think it is mostly because a lot of streamer women, before they started streaming, were just mega dorks that didn't
And
really
hate
know
themselves.
that they
Yes,
were pretty,
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
also have very
I
low
can
self-esteem
confirm,
because
Charlie.
men are
It's-
mean to
it's-
them
it's
all the
the-
I
time.
haven't realized their real
It
power
is the
level.
former fat girl syndrome, where she doesn't know how good looking she is now after she lost all the weight.
Yes,
It's that
but
kind of thing, I
also
think.
when you have a job that is highly focused on your looks, when you're focused highly on your looks, sometimes you don't want to date a man that is like very like looks maxi focused on his own looks, because it's stressful.
Is
You
that
know, like a
really
dude that's like cares a lot about
I wanna-
appearance.
I
Like
can
that's
confirm
confirm
my
this.
money.
That's
Wait,
too
this is actually
stressful.
so true. I've had so many women tell me they're insecure by the fact that I like go to the gym and they feel pressured to look better, and I'm like, sorry, like then fucking do it. Like, but this is a real phenomenon. I've had this happen.
Do you even lift?
Okay.
Man.
Okay. I do got to get to closings because I do want to open this up, and you can stay. Yeah, you're all welcome to stay as long as you like. Let's start with Charlie, and we'll end with SoyPill. And in your closings, give your final verdict. Is Whick incel adjacent? Okay, Charlie, let's start with you. Go ahead.
After talking through this all, I don't think that Wick is incel adjacent. I think we could talk a bit more about the idea of women being coddled, perhaps more in depth, but I don't think he's incel adjacent. I do think that he needs to not suggest creators like Xerxes. No offense, Xerxes. It's just that a lot of your stuff really is like a bit. If I was an ugly guy struggling to get laid, it would just bring me down to such great pits of despair. So I think maybe you gotta no black pill stuff. We gotta empower, the maybe socially awkward, not so cute guys, and help them get girlfriends rather than tell them that they'll never be loved ever.
Okay. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate
Thank you
you.
for
I
having
think
me.
you
I
added
had
a lot.
fun.
Good. Dev. You're muted, Dev. Dev. Dev, wake up. Okay, he's not here right now. Let's go to Mooncake. Mooncake, go ahead.
Okay, couple of things. No, do I think you're insult adjacent? No, I don't think so. I think you just post like stupid memes. Honestly, I kind of feel
Guilty
like
as charged, frankly, but go ahead.
I kind of feel like in 50 Shades of Grey, if Mr. Grey was ugly, like there's no way any of that would have happened, and I don't think we consider stuff like that. And like that just is the truth. But once again, I do think that comes back to like the idea of pretty privilege. Um, yeah, I think that was basically it. I thought I had some other stuff, but no, I think that's it. I don't think you're incel adjacent.
Thank
I think you're
you.
good.
Okay, 2 out of 2, not guilties. Dev, go ahead.
I'm back. I'm back. Sorry about that. Wick, you're an incel, and it's pretty based.
Okay. 1 pro incel. Okay, vote. 2
Well,
none. Okay, well, go ahead.
so okay, my actual opinion is, I guess I just don't take this topic quite as seriously as you did, SoyPill. I mean, I know you're not taking it that seriously anyway, but still, like I've never liked the pipeline discourses because I know like Xander Hall, his whole thing was I was the guy who was pulled out of the alt-right pipeline, and it's like yeah, but you're still a retard, and the alt-right doesn't exist anymore, and the pipeline doesn't exist anymore. You know, like the last round of discourse was a Econo Boy normalizing communists online or something, and that was also just fundamentally pipeline discourse. Like even if you are not that thing, how much can you influence people into becoming that thing if the thing is bad? That's basically the question. And in my opinion, it's more important if you're saying things that are true than anything like that.
Based. Okay. Rabidwombat.
So I think the most important thing we learned today was Charlie let us know that economic inequality has been solved and is no longer an issue. So I think that is great.
No,
Well, I
wait.
mean,
Wow.
between
I'm sorry. Hey, this is closing statements, lady.
And,
None of that.
and,
None of that.
and that it caused capitalism to accelerate.
That's right. That's right. All very valid points, and I'm totally on her side. I think it's bad that we have bootstrap solutions for men, institutional change for women, and that it's bad if we offer bootstraps for women and institutional change for men, even if we pair it with it as a reaction to institutional change for women. Wick is not an incel. He's not a red pillar. He's not even an MRA in the negative connotation, but he is in a sphere where he wants to be able to speak to these people and affect change. He wants to be able to engage with them and not just in open conflict. You have to let them get it out. You have to commiserate a little bit on that front, like we've said. You can't just let them live with what they see in YouTube shorts and streamers that are in that red pill community. You have to start the conversation with them in a non-confrontational way, or else they'll never come to you. But does Wick do enough work to provide these reasonable takes in response to those concerns? And that's where I think he's certainly capable of it. I do take this topic seriously. I have a 6-year-old son. I look at what's available to him out there to watch, what's in my feed and what will eventually be in his feed. I would rather my son see someone like Wick or even irrelevant than a lot of the other options out there.
If you had to have your son watch
God,
Cersei
dude.
or SoyPill.
Well, so we already talked about that, and I told you there's things that I would definitely want Xerxes to him to see his take on it. I think there are some things that SoyPill goes further. So I think if it was a sprint, Xerxes, if it was a marathon, I think SoyPill would eventually run out of soy and get to some important stuff. You know,
Hmm.
so we'd see.
Wow.
I'd make. Can I say both? Can I say both? Is that a weasel out?
It's a
kind of
centrist
thing?
answer. Fair
So
enough.
exactly, I'm a centrist. Just like you are thoughtful in ensuring that you platform women, and then when you're not memeing, that you're actually taking it seriously, I want you to be careful and considerate in who you send your audience to on male topics. I think you're capable of great things in this category. You're someone I would like my son to hear. You've got some experience, some wisdom
That's actually
in these things, and you exist
Glazing.
in the meat space. You're not captured online. You have experience. I want him to have takes about people who've actually gone up and talked to women in person instead of just sent them lewds in their DMs. So you're one of the good ones.
Oh, well, thank
Not an incel. Do more. Do more. I expect more of you.
you know what my problem is now I'm super suspicious of you because you've complimented me so much, and I'm like,
Too
what
much.
the fuck does this guy want?
Suspicious.
Don't worry,
Okay.
it'll average
Wait,
out
it's-
over the next month.
We'll get to
Dude, it's more suspicious that you would have your kid watch fucking Irrelevant. Are you kidding me?
No, I'm talking like 10 years from now. So I didn't want to say Xerxes because I think he goes too far in some areas. Irrelevant is the far post. That when I
Okay.
have Whick and irrelevant is like the far post for me.
I
when
do
start talking
on a
about
serious
those
note,
things.
that is, I'm honored that you would want your child to watch my content, thinking it would help him and make him a better man. So thank
Like
you
10
for
years
that.
from now. 10
Yeah.
years from now.
Of
What's wrong
course,
with
I'm a good
Irrelevant? I
podcast
thought that Irrelevant was just like a socialist. Like what? Is he an incel?
I mean,
No.
yes, that's actually
He went through a
retarded. So.
transformation about 2-3 years ago and went through a journey. And I think he's still got a little ways to go, but I think he's a good example of someone who's working his
Wait.
way in the self-improvement area. That would
What do
be
you turn into from a
optimal.
socialist?
I don't
Like,
know,
you went from
Canadian?
socialist to what? Like, what is
I
he?
don't
What is
think
he
there's
now?
ever a socialist.
Social dem, sock dem. Maybe
Am I
sock
thinking
dem.
of the right
Let's go
person?
over.
Maybe
Was he
not.
a AH relevant? I thought he
Yeah,
was
AH
very
relevant.
left
Yeah, that guy.
winging.
Yeah, but he's not a socialist.
Oh my
What?
bad. I thought he
I
was a
always thought he wa- I
socialist.
always
I
thought he
thought he
was,
was a
like, 3 years ago.
socialist on our
No,
Maybe
on
it
our.
was 3 years ago.
Wow.
Anyway, we can ask him later. I'll DM him and find
You
out.
mean like Hassan
Um,
is the socialist? That kind of
Yeah.
socialist?
Hold on.
Oh my god.
Stardust. Give me your verdict. You're muted.
Thank you for having me on, and thank you for allowing me to derail as much as I did.
Is he a
I
manosphere
do
person?
think that
Relevant?
in general, when it
What the
comes to this
fuck?
topic, I can't
AH
say for
relevant?
sure whether Wick. I just don't know. I don't think Wick is somebody who is an incel. Whether he engages in incel rhetoric, I guess I haven't. But I will say I do think like this is a multi-pronged issue, and I think we need to think about things beyond ourselves, men and women, right? The like I've always kind of despised this whole like don't approach me anywhere at all for anything, right? When we're talking about like how women approach like men approaching them. And I think that that's a flaw. And I think also like men talking about like, oh, why is it so hard to find a woman, who's interested in me? Like there are multiple reasons for this, right? And so I think at the end of the day, like I think a lot of men, their self-esteems have been really negatively impacted by the modern dating market, and I understand why. And I think we just need to like advocate for a lot of men to
Women are mean.
appreciate themselves more, and same with women. Appreciate yourself more, and have higher standards for yourself and for the people that you date. Okay. And there was one last thing I was going to say. I know I come off as kind of radical. I just have that like female perspective, and I do think that there are a lot of issues that women face that aren't really at the forefront of a lot of this discourse. Like we talk about like male loneliness, but we don't ever talk about like how many women like give up like their social lives once they enter relationships, and then also completely give up everything, any extracurricular, once they're married and have kids, right? So like I do think that there's like a huge blind spot in that sense. But yeah, that's just my main thing, is like I think just everybody could be a little bit more empathetic and a little bit more nice to themselves. So
True.
Yeah.
Be nice to yourself and be nice to other people. Because women are mean and so are men. And you just gotta like, find nice ones. SoyPill, final verdict.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're hiding your power level, this reassured me a lot. I'd say you're no longer incel adjacent. You're dipping your toe into the incel lake, and I'm pulling you back. I'm a lifeguard. I'm tweeting my whistle. I'm like, careful there, buddy. You're dipping your toe in the gross, mucky water. And I never thought you were an incel, so that's good. But yeah, now I think you're a lot less close than I thought you were. Sometimes you just worry me a little bit. I'm your friend, and I care about you, and I don't want you to be an incel. I want you to have lots of delicious sex. Or making love, because screwing, no one does that. No one screws. We make love. Chads
Keep
make
it under
love.
12.
Um,
Under 12.
no, keep it over 18. Definitely. So
True.
yeah, Wick, good luck on Andrew Wilson. Good luck talking about the definition of a word for 2 hours. I would blow my brains out, and I hope you had fun because I did. I'm more reassured of your already good personhood.
Well, thank you. And with that, we're gonna open up the panel. You guys, again, if you guys need to go, I get it, but got some people who want to say some things. I'm gonna bring them on. I'm gonna go get a drink, and I'll be right back. And that's what we'll do.
Okay.
I'll hang
Actually,
out
just
for a
real
little
quick,
bit.
Stardust. Stardust, are you coming back to the panel space permanently now?
Maybe. I haven't decided. I still want to work on video essays mostly.
Yeah, me too, but yeah.
Video essays take forever.
Oh god, I'm actually here.
They
Yay.
do.
Good lord. Everyone at once?
Why not?
Wick, you fucking...
All right.
I'll be back.
This'll
But
be
yeah,
nice.
Yeah,
I
I feel the same way.
Yeah,
I feel the same
Oh
way.
Can I-
god. Yeah, right.
Oh,
if I may,
Jesus
If I may,
Christ.
real fast.
miss them.
If
They're
I may,
fun.
real fast. Dev, Shortfatotaku, are you there?
I'm right here, yeah.
Listen, my friend,
I cannot
it's
hear myself
interesting.
think
I
over all
don't
of you guys.
I don't
Ray,
know
Ray, shut up.
to what extent you and I will really interact in this conversation, but I had a friend of mine that loves you.
Hey,
She's a
Dev.
great fan of yours. She brings you up a lot. And it's actually
who is it?
it's fascinating for me. Her name's, I'm gonna call her Caddy. I'm not gonna tell you her real name.
Well, is
yeah,
she like an
she-
online person or like anyone that I know?
Yeah, she's like online. She's like online. Yeah, she's been in your Discord. I think she was the one that asked you to play Kingdom Hearts on stream with your friend. I think.
No,
I think
I know
she's
exactly who you're
mentioned
talking. I know exactly.
Yeah.
Is her name Rose? Is it Rose?
Got to tell you, right? So it's interesting to finally be in a panel with you, but I don't think we'll argue or discuss too much. But I just wanted to say hi to you specifically.
I didn't know that you knew her. Okay.
Did you just take
But
2
yeah,
minutes to say hi to someone on the panel?
I had to. I've known of him for very many years. I have.
No,
that's
they
right.
definitely
Years,
say
honestly.
hi. Like, that's cool, but that was a really long
That was a
way to-
long.
Listen,
I think we all thought that was
It's-
going to
I
lead
had
to
to do it.
something.
No, it's
But
always very
listen,
strange when
no,
people know
no,
who I
it's-
am, man. It's always very strange. I don't think I'm that big or anything.
Yeah.
I feel like
understand.
you're about to apply for a job at his company. That's what I felt like.
Not even. No, me and Soy though, fam. What is Charlie? What are you guys doing?
Bro, your Twitter's a little crazy,
Come
man.
on.
It's a little
Listen,
crazy,
first of all,
dude.
See, here's the thing,
two
Charlie.
names
This
spreads around,
isn't
Dev.
fair. This isn't fair because I have been on record on Twitter
Hello?
defending the things you've said. By the way, I've come to
When?
bat for you on Twitter. I've argued for you on Twitter. So that's not even. That's kind of cold.
Oh, I
Say I'm
appreciate it.
over
I
here
don't.
making people depressed.
Yeah,
That's
but then
not
Soy
right.
said nothing
Oh,
wrong with the fact that you may
But
not be
Soy-
incel, but you agree with every
But
point
it's
they
like-
have in these
So
conversations.
I
every
don't
time
it's
you're
a
on.
little
so
bit-
I actually don't. I don't think you listen to me if you think I agree with everything they say. Actually, what I say is pretty straight. They're right about the current state of affairs. I'm not a biological determinism. I don't think being
They're
ugly
right about
means that it's
everything, but I
game,
don't
set, match
agree
for you.
with them.
They're right about the current state of affairs. It's a very specific statement. If we are to say or suggest that being attractive is the most important thing that people measure before they even engage in a relationship, that would be correct. In fact, the first piece of advice any of you guys give is to do what? Improve how you look. Where's the counter argument to the incels then?
Well,
No,
no
so
one's
I
arguing
got
against that
one-
thing, though.
No, hold on. I actually am. I think Charlie kind of brought this up, but I think if anything, women consistently show evidence that they are always the ones who are willing to concede to a partner who is less attractive than them. The reason we
here's the
say,
question.
hold on. You've been
Satisfactory.
talking for
Because
5
the
minutes and
problem-
3 of them was saying hi to
Yeah,
somebody. Give me more than 30
I-
seconds to
That
respond.
was- we barely even got
Xerxes.
into anything. though.
Xerxes, you don't know my point
Go
yet, and you're going to argue it, and it's
Go
going to
ahead.
waste time.
Go
So
ahead.
I am
what
going
I
to
would
cycle
say
you guys
is
through when I'm
the
bored. with you.
reason we give like some of those easy things to do at the beginning as the prescriptions is because just that they're easy to do and you don't need to interact with a woman yet to do them, because like Soy said, you shouldn't just go in cold with random women in random parts of your life as a way to learn. You should do what other people do, and whatever they're trying to practice has some risk for other people. You practice in theory before you operate in practice, right?
That's goofiness. See,
that's not
the
goofiness
reason
at
why
all.
I will tell you why this is goofiness. Let me tell you why this is goofiness, right? Women are just people. That's all they are. They're just humans.
Mhm.
Being able to talk to people and have normal, regular conversations is a skill that you develop over a period of time. You should talk to women. You should talk to women at the grocery store. Just if they wear a shirt you like, you should say, "Hey, I like that shirt. That's a nice shirt. What band is that? XYZ," and move on. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a skill that you should develop over a period
depends.
of
If
time,
you don't
right?
yet know
So
how
the
to
idea
determine
that you
whether someone
don't do
wants to
it-
talk to you, there can be
But
something
how
wrong with
could
that.
you? How could you learn that without actually being engrossed? See,
Because like you said,
that-
women
just in
are
the
just
public school
people, so you
system,
can
fam.
talk to
What do
other
you-
people, including men, to
Okay.
gain social
I thought we
skills that
needed
will
more
work
women on
with
the
women.
panel. Okay, so I brought
Okay,
ice
so
cream.
so
then.
but
More
this
married
doesn't
women.
change.
More married
Yeah.
brown
But this doesn't
women.
change anything
There you
though.
go.
So
Hi,
like
Steve.
one,
Hi.
You're just
if
saying
you
that,
just
but I
said
feel like
Hi,
it
Steve.
demonstrates that it doesn't.
well, think about it. The first piece of advice you still come back down to, well, we tell them that they should improve how they look because it's an easy thing to do. Well, actually, exercising is not just an easy thing to do. It takes time. It takes dedication. It takes a lot of effort to put into it in order to trigger this muscle growth that's going on. That's number one. Number two, if you don't have
Yeah, it's
facial
still
hair,
very
you can't
easy,
clean it
but-
up in any stylish way, right? So it's like you say that is easy. But here's the problem. Even if we improve the way that you look, there's still the height problem that we talked about earlier. I wasn't on the panel while I was listening. We talked about the height issue. We talked about the preferences that some
The
of these
height
young
issue
males
just
have to
doesn't
deal
bear
with
out. Most
that
women just
cannot
prefer
be
someone taller than them.
overcame, right?
Most women just
that's
prefer
what-
someone taller than them, and men all
so
on
this is the
average are
problem.
taller than women on average.
So and you're correct, but here's the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is that very many people accept that because a woman has done something, that means she's satisfied. It doesn't mean that at all. There's many women, they've gone on record. I've just seen just recently in many different TikTok videos going on record saying that I knew I shouldn't have married this man. I knew I didn't want to be with him. Was married for him for 2 years, got a divorce later. There's many a tale of this. They're telling this to young men
Jeb,
right
have you
now.
considered that Zerth watches a lot of Instagram reels and TikToks?
No, but this is my problem
it's
is
not just that,
everything you
right?
just hold on. Everything you just brought
go
up
ahead.
demonstrates that women are more likely to settle than men, even though you claim the opposite. So women generally prefer men who
how
stop.
would that bring to a good
Stop.
relationship?
Let me finish. So women generally prefer someone 2 to 3 inches taller than them. Men on average are 6 inches taller than women. Women generally will date someone who is less attractive than them. Men almost exclusively will not. They seek out partners based primarily on their physical attractiveness. And like you said, women are more likely to take a chance on a relationship with the idea that a man might grow to meet their needs
That's not
and
what I
might
said.
start
That's not what I
being
said.
empathetic.
I said they
You
settle.
said, I know I should. Yes, they settle, but
Okay,
they
so
don't
that's not taking a
settle
chance
just
then.
to. That is taking a
picking
chance.
someone that
Okay,
you don't
yeah,
want
hold
to
on,
be with.
hold on, just real quick. Jebtan, Xerxes,
Yeah.
there's 12 people here. We're gonna need to get some other voices in.
No,
Okay.
I mean, look, I came here. Look, my
I
old
know
friend
Xerxes,
TheSoyPill.
you're
What are you doing?
you got
What are you
called
doing,
out.
man?
I get it.
Huh? What you doing?
But I
huh?
want to
I
hear from.
actually watched your videos before this panel just to remember whether or not you were an incel, or at least incel agreeing, and it was pretty bad.
They won't claim me, fam.
I
See,
wanna- I
that's
wanna-
what's goofy
I
about
wanna
this
hear
battle.
from
They're more
non-fun.
radical than you. Does not mean
I want to
that
hear
you're
from
not
It's
non-fun.
not.
developed
Non-fun,
in them.
you
Sure.
have a lot of stake here in this discussion. Okay, I understand. I see you on Twitter putting yourself out there. I'm with you, brother. Okay, I love you, brother. I try to help where I can.
Wait, are you
Okay?
calling him an incel?
No, he's
He is
trying his
implying that.
best. Okay, he's
Well-
doing what he needs to do. Okay, I don't know if he gets laid or not, but I
Right.
see him.
That's kind of what I came to comment on. I'm curious how TheSoyPill feels about this too. I feel like the rhetoric that TheSoyPill might consider incel adjacent, both, I guess he's somewhat backed off from it on Whick, but also had a classmate named Adam who was definitely incel adjacent. That type of rhetoric has probably been the stuff that has inspired me the most to improve myself. Whick telling me to talk to girls is a non-zero reason why I got my driver's license finally.
Well, I don't think
Aw.
Whick telling
Telling
you
you,
to talk
right?
to girls
Snaps
is
for
really
non-fun.
to be clear.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Actually, that makes me really happy.
I'm telling you, right? Like Wick, I
Damn.
was telling Wick in the DMs, he's not incel adjacent. Like I don't even know why we had
Jump
this
in,
panel.
Star.
He's
Just
not.
Would you
shout 'em
say
down.
you are?
Wait, yeah,
He's
so
can I
far
can I
removed.
Consider
It's
yourself
goofy.
incel adjacent?
Hold on.
Me?
Ice
Okay.
beans. Ice
Well, I
beans.
just want to be
I-
clear
I-
Oh
because
yeah, I
let me
would be. Yes.
okay, cool. So if you're considering you're Rick is nowhere close to you. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Ice
I
beans.
would be adjacent by definition. Yes.
Ice beans. You had something
I
to say.
came to say I don't know where people. I mean, I've missed and I tried to find out what exactly it is that made people think Wick is incel adjacent. Wick just strikes me as the kind of guy that like has a girlfriend and has a wife or has like a wife and is hiding her away from everyone because
I
he
thought he
seems
was married.
In a
he
closet.
seems very grounded. You know what I mean? That's just like the energy I get. So I'm interested to know where the incel energy has like even came from in the
Yeah,
first
he
place.
reposted an
Nowhere.
incel meme on Twitter, and he was saying things that
Okay,
were like complaining about men in ways that I
right.
thought were like incel adjacent, where it's like, okay, clearly
Yeah.
you're pointing out a problem that might be true, but you're not really offering solutions, and you just seem to be bitter and lamenting in the way that I see in incel forums
Yeah.
that I used to browse for fun. But
Yeah,
like
but
he's
like
clarified,
But hold,
like he's
but
clarified,
like
if
the
we don't want to
the
relitigate
old
this, he's
stereotypical
nowhere close
you know
to
the
it.
old the stereotypical like wife memes, you know, like the ball and chain memes, you know, like I feel like
Yeah, but he's
that's
not
the
doing
energy
that.
I
That's
get
different.
from
That's boomer
yeah, that's
complaining about
from
women.
Wick,
That's
like a
different talk to me.
chauvinist. Which
okay.
yeah, that's like
Yeah, fair.
Do
chauvinism.
you
I
guys
didn't
think I got
I
like?
didn't see
Do you
this.
guys think I got like
Wick, what do you
women
think?
like in my basement just locked up? What?
No, I mean, I'm saying,
There's one under his
like
desk
a
right
stable
now.
person. Like you seem like a stable
Well,
person.
I
You
do
know what I
appreciate
mean?
that. I try to be stable. Yeah. Well, honestly, I would think that might be evidence that I don't talk to a lot of women, right? Because I'm still stable and they haven't driven me insane yet, right? Yeah.
I can
Yeah,
push
I
you over
mean
the
that
limit.
But that's
that's the other,
chauvinism,
well
right?
that's the other well hold on that's the weirdly enough that's the other reason why I think like you know you're not someone like that because for me I've been married but also like I am married but also I for the longest time I just dated one person so I don't even like think about dating, you know what I mean, or not in that sense anyway. So and I feel like that's the kind of energy you bring, Wick.
I
You
can't
know,
tell if this
you're
is
not
good or not.
lamenting your you're
It's
not
good.
no you're
It's
not
good.
no it's good that's what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
And you know what? This
You
actually makes a
got
lot of sense
girl or you
because
gave up.
this makes a lot of sense because that kind of reminds me of me because I will definitely make jokes that if I were single might come off
Mhm.
as incel-ish because I've been in a relationship for 9 years and it's a very solid relationship. I'm just like, I'm just fucking around. Who cares? This is just for fun,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
do we actually have an operational definition? Because if anything disparaging towards women is considered incel, well, game set match, I guess. So how
Well,
do
no,
we
the meme
actually
is-
focus in what is
the meme is
incelish?
the meme is
Specific- so-
incel-y because it's pointing out an involuntary part of somebody's physical being and blaming that for why they can't get women.
Can
That
we
is
just
just
acknowledge-
definitionally
hold on,
involuntary
stop.
incel.
Wait, Jeb,
Hold on,
let me clarify too.
SoyPill,
It's
clarify.
using an incel meme, Saint Black
Yeah,
Ops
true.
Cell 2, which is like exclusively on incel forums. It's not like
Yeah.
because Star pointed out there is the exact same meme of the fat pimply guy in the office being like, "Hello, ma'am," and she's like, "Hello, police," and then the hot guy.
Mhm.
If he had posted that, I wouldn't even thought about it. It's because I saw Saint Black Ops Cell 2.
See, I didn't even know that
Okay,
that's
I got-
like an
it could be a
incel
little bit
meme.
of
Okay, I got a mod.
I'm
bro.
gonna peace out.
Okay, see you
Have
later.
fun,
Ice
everybody.
beans. I appreciate
seeing ya.
Nice seeing
I
you.
appreciate the
Okay, cool.
normie
Right,
energy
like,
advocacy.
people-
But I will say
people-
this. Can I just say this before I let you go, Stardust, and I'll let you go?
Okay.
That meme has a lot of truth to it. If you are less attractive, you have more problems than, at least in dating, than if you are more attractive. I think that's just a true statement.
It
That's
is
just
for
true.
men
very
and
Yeah.
true.
women,
Yeah.
right? It's true for men and for women. And can I just say, like, I do think it's interesting, an interesting double standard that, like, when I was giving my closing statement, the amount of people I saw saying, like, "Oh, I'll never take relationship advice from somebody who's single and childless in their 30s." Like, why are we listening then to men who are single and childless in their 30s? And
People
not
say the
and
same
not
thing.
saying-
No,
they
no, they
might
do the
have
same thing.
children.
The people do the same thing to me all the time. What do you?
Yeah.
That's ubiquitous. I feel.
Yeah.
I was just in a YouTube argument with someone just the other day where they just kept on personally attacking me, saying this and that. So
Yeah,
I just gave the ghost. I said,
I'm just
fine,
saying,
then I'm everything
yeah,
you say I
yeah,
am, but
that's
address
fine.
my argument. You know.
If you
But
want
I mean, I
to
think it's important
personally
though.
attack people, like that's fine, but like these people, like you're taking this side that like the things that I'm saying are like so ridiculous that you know, and the points that I'm bringing, these issues that women face are so ridiculous. But then if you don't want to take the advice of somebody who is currently like choosing to not engage in that, then and giving the reason why they don't want to engage in that, like then yeah, like your loss, I guess, but like you wouldn't write off anybody, right?
I
Like
don't
Fatty,
know.
Fatty, thank you for the raid on YouTube. Really appreciate you. Welcome, Fatty viewers. We're talking about
Hi.
incels. Okay, that's what we're talking
Sure
about
is, yeah,
today.
I'm sure his audience
I
will
do
have
want to
some
hear real
insight.
quick.
Stardust, what you were saying, I don't think that's gendered, because just yesterday I witnessed Sargon basically give Nick Fuentes a public
No,
dressing down, talking
it's
about this
gendered
stuff.
in most cases. I don't think it's gendered in most cases. I'm just arguing with people who actually like. I'm just arguing with the people in the chat who actually disagree with me.
Okay,
That's all.
yeah. No,
Well,
fair enough.
yeah.
Fair
I
enough.
think that's rude
I
of
do
them
wanna-
to do, but I think if
Very,
people want to use your body's produced count as
Yeah.
a indicator of future behavior, I
Bodies
think that's
produced?
perfectly
That's
acceptable.
a good one.
Well, no,
Body
listen,
I
count.
do.
think-
I do have a question. I do have a question for non-fun. Okay, because look, what
'Cause he's my
kind of
biggest fan on the
rhetoric?
panel, so.
What kind of like, as someone who's younger, you're younger in this space, you're actively looking. What kind of things do you need rhetoric-wise? What kind of like do you need people to just give you an attaboy thing? Like, what advice would you like? I'm just wondering what you want and need out of streamers in this space.
Yes, and then
So
who
I
would be
have-
more likely to get you laid, me or Wick? If you listen to both of us.
Listen to me.
Probably SoyPill. I would guess SoyPill. I would guess. So I don't know. Like,
Give it
I don't
up
know what I
quick.
need. So like, I don't know
I don't know.
what
He
the
might be too
optimal,
handsome to take advice from.
like the optimal like
Wait, what is-
advice
what?
to
You're
heighten
not
up or
helping
whatever
me.
is.
Well, listen, Soy's not just better with women; he's also prettier. So I mean,
Yeah,
Exactly,
he's
exactly.
like,
It's
Non-fun. I think that you should listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me.
Hey, listen,
Non-fun. Do you have no?
I do not
I
listen to
I
women.
was a man with a pussy at one point. I was a 5'6" man with a pussy, and that's a hard knock life. I'll tell you what. So listen, listen. Non-fun.
Doesn't get much smaller.
Do
than
you
that,
like
but it's
do you
good.
like Renaissance Fair live action roleplay Dungeons and
you.
Dragons anime convention things? Do you like those things?
Nope.
What the
Yeah.
fuck do you like?
No, he'd need to go to like a
Unplugged,
Biden
nah.
rally or something. He'd need
What
to
do
go
you
to, like, the
like?
Women's March. The Women's
I
March
like,
and shrimp welfare and.
Yeah, the shrimp. Well, actually, you know what? They do hold effective altruism conferences. Okay, I bet the women at effective altruism conferences, I bet they, maybe they'll get along with me.
Not fun.
All right.
Unironically, there is a cult, and I don't like calling it a cult, but they call themselves a cult of people. And every single person that I've mentioned this to, because I'm friends with a bunch of them, know about the Shrimp Welfare Project. It's men, it's women, it's some of the smartest people I know. I'll introduce you to their Discord. I bet you could find a lot of people that you'd like in there.
What the hell is shrimp
I don't know if
welfare?
I'll say this right now.
for me to
If you get
approach women
laid because
in
of the
the-
Shrimp Welfare Project, I will donate to the Shrimp
That's-
Welfare
that's-
Project.
Hell yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Hell yeah. Hey, listen.
No,
Well, hold on.
he needs a
If I
woman
may
to help
ask.
him. It has to be a woman
Yeah,
to help him.
Non-fun, do you actually like want a relationship or do you want to have sex indiscriminately? Because those are two different things.
Who is
I think-
Sargon? I don't know
mean,
who this
not
person
that, like,
is.
I'm a man. I'm not going to be opposed to sex indiscriminately.
I'm not choosy.
Like,
No, but I think you should.
Right,
I
but-
because I'll tell you why. The way you're gonna approach trying to be with a woman in a relationship is absolutely gonna be different than how you'd approach a woman you're trying to date indiscriminately. Like those are two categories of people
Sure.
that are gonna operate differently, right? So it's like, what do you actually?
What the hell was
want,
that?
You know?
What was that?
so like, I think I would.
Bozo
So to make it clear, like,
462.
I understand there's going
Thank
to be a
you
difference in how
for the
you
follow.
approach those situations, and like, I think I would prefer a relationship. I'm just saying, like, if the
Wait,
opportunity
when you
presented
post
itself
the
for indiscriminate
drooling
sex, I probably
emoji
wouldn't.
meme, when you post the drooling
Mhm.
emoji meme on
Oh,
every
Sargon
girl's
was-
Twitter photos, is that you looking for a relationship or
He's
sex?
looking for a wife.
Sargon was
That's not me.
anti-feminist?
That's true, actually.
That's
That's
not
true.
you. Do you
That's
have a
not
social
me.
media handler?
Is it
Oh.
important
That's not
for
me
you to
seriously
Okay.
attempting
no.
But that's what
anything.
you're putting
It's
out
shit
there,
If
right?
posting.
someone actually wants like a relationship or just sex, you have to hang out with more women. I would say it'd make more sense to be in groups of women.
Not
I'm
fun
working
hangs out
on
with a
it.
lot of
Introduce
women.
you
He
to
posts
more
it.
women. Because then women
They
know
might
it's
just
gonna be
think he's
cool
gay.
around you. They're gonna be like, oh,
Well,
this guy's
So they,
cool.
they might just
There
think
are a
he's
lot of
think it
women who think I'm
depends.
gay.
I think it depends.
Yeah, they'll
I
just
think
think
it
he's gay.
depends.
After
That's
that point.
literally a
That's too many.
positive. No. That's a positive in many spaces. In cities, if you're a straight guy who seems a little gay, like you'll go places.
That's actually
Oh, the
true.
places you'll
That's all
go.
the time. I
It's
pretend to be gay.
crazy.
Is that the places
but
you
those
want
places
to go?
aren't
Is
the
that where you're gonna
bedroom.
find yourself?
No, the places are the
exactly.
yes, they are. They are the
Are those
bedroom. Are you
the
kidding me?
places you wanna go on? I
Yes,
don't know.
it's if you live in a city and women think you're a little gay, yeah, you're going to get laid. You will. I'm not kidding. In
No,
cities, yes, it's gonna work.
You gotta square the circle on that one. How does
No,
that
and,
work?
like,
They
if
feel
you
If they,
gay,
if they
so
think
they
you're
will-
gay, they're gonna try to have sex with you.
No,
Make
no,
that make
no,
sense.
No. If you seem like a little, if you
But
seem a little
eventually,
gay,
okay, that's
if
the-
you seem
I
like a
wanna-
little
I wanna
gay,
hear from her, Charlie. I'm curious.
Mhm.
That's the most bonkers stuff I have ever heard. I gotta
No,
be
this
real
is-
with
this
you.
is
Okay,
very
listen to
true,
me. I'm sorry. Listen to me.
unfortunately,
I've lived
depending on
in
what it
Star
San
has very
Francisco.
strong views on bisexual men.
I have
so don't
listened
listen
to
them.
well.
No, I don't. I am totally fine with bisexual men.
No,
I
but you wouldn't. You said you wouldn't date one. You said you wouldn't go near a bisexual man. I thought.
That's not a
What?
strong
What?
opinion.
Oh, okay.
You wouldn't
I
date a
thought
short man either, would you? Let's see.
I thought I had
Would
heard
you
it.
date a
No,
short man,
no
Stardust?
short man.
Apparently, I was wrong.
There you go.
Plenty of bisexual men. I don't know what's going on there. Where you're getting those?
Yeah,
All
I
right.
thought
Well,
I thought I had
anyway,
heard it.
anyway,
I wanna
my
hear- I
point
wanna hear
is,
Charlie
my
first.
point is, I've lived in Los Angeles, I've lived in San Francisco, Sacramento, I've lived in
Right.
Glasgow, I've lived in Portland. All right, those are cities. Wait, wait. Just let me say something. And I need to tell you that the kind of men who get laid in cities, in blue cities, are men who are a little bit fruity. Men who come off as a little bit fruity. That is why the Harry Styles of the world, the Timothy Chalamets, all the heartthrobs are men who are just a little bit effeminate. You know, still fairly masculine, but a little bit effeminate, but like in touch with their feminine side. They talk a little
than what
soft.
you originally
But
said.
they're also
Well, yeah,
handsome.
'cause
too.
obviously-
No, because they come off as a little bit gay.
Jason.
They come off as a
They're
little bit
handsome
gay, and that's okay.
There's a little.
I'm
bit
just
of
telling you-
weakness,
I'm
but
telling
there's
you
a
it
truth
works.
Being hit at.
It
There's a truth
works.
Being hit at. Hold on. There's a general truth being hit at, which is something that men generally don't get about women when they are approaching, especially, is for men, we don't have the same need that women have in a new situation with a new person. Safety and comfort are two boxes that have to be checked first before you can get to fun and flirty, before you can get to any of the other positive energy. And she's
Absolutely.
being tongue-in-cheek about like seeming gay, but what she means is if you seem empathetic to a woman and you seem like someone who is around women and is safe to be around women, you check those boxes almost by default. You still have a ton of work to do to check the desired box that you want to in the end, but some of the work is done for you from the outset if you have anything that pre-checks the safety and comfort
Yeah,
boxes.
I want to add
like
to this, Jeb. If you are someone
agree
who
with that,
seems
but-
like is trying to like
Agreed.
embody this masculine stereotype, and you're stoic, and you like won't even like, oh, that's gay, I wouldn't do that. That does send off red flags. And if on the opposite side, you're like, oh yeah, like I can talk about like how I dress and things that people traditionally masculine people be like, oh, that guy's gay, he gives a shit about his appearance. Oh, that guy's gay, he talks about his feelings. If you do those things that are considered gay by these very traditionally masculine conservative people, women are more warm to you because like, oh, that person is actually a little more
He's
in touch with the
confident.
emotional
He's
side of it.
confident.
Yeah.
He
I
knows
live-
who he
I live in
is.
a very
There's an
conservative
extremely important
city.
caveat.
I live in a very conservative. I just want to add to this because
Oh,
I live
rabbit.
in a very conservative city, and there was a point in my 20s where one of my roommates, one of my best friends, came out. We were living together already at that point as roommates. He worked as a bouncer in a gay bar. Let me know that they had free pools on Monday nights for members, and memberships only cost $5 for life. So I was playing pool at the gay bar every Monday night, and you would be surprised to see how many women there are hanging out at the gay bar. And as a straight, fairly masculine man in a gay bar, I got hit on a lot once they they were very receptive and became more interested in me once they found out that I was straight, but that I was willing to hang out and be a part of the gay community as a fully functioning heterosexual man.
I have to
Yeah,
say,
but
Deb,
so-
I have
So I do.
take on this. I think like I was confused by the a little bit gay thing because maybe I just don't have like the gaydar or whatever. But I don't know, like Deb, why the fuck are you mixing me up with Bad Bunny? Do we look alike? What's going on here?
Wait, does Bad? Oh, you're talking about female Bad Bunny. I thought you were saying the actual bisexual man Bad Bunny.
It's like what?
Wait, no.
You look like a Latino rapper. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
No, I'm sorry. I thought we had this conversation before, like way back when I like. because most people don't know the Jeb lore. I actually came kind of into this space through Stars community, but no, I misremembered. It was you and Hippy Dippy, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Star number
I mean,
one.
I did too, Stars. So that's kind of how it is.
Yeah. Look,
Stardust is
listen.
the vector.
I don't know if it's a good idea to tell a young man that he should kind of come off a little bit fruity.
But
we
he
have to
shouldn't
go
be
over-
afraid.
Rhetoric
He
is the point.
shouldn't. He shouldn't be afraid of doing. He shouldn't be afraid of being that way.
Right.
Go ahead,
So
Nonfon. Nonfon, go
I
ahead.
agree mostly with what like Charlie and Jeb said, and like I think that's why like SoyPill said I hang out with a lot of women because I have a lot of friendships with women. But part of the reason rhetoric that SoyPill might consider like incel adjacent, you know, has been the stuff that's made like maybe want to improve is because like at bottom like I do fundamentally feel like if you want to have a relationship with a woman, you have to have above 0 of like something to offer her, and typically like those are going to be like more
So Nonfon, can I ask? Hold on, real quick. Nonfon, hold on, real quick.
Which would be the opposite of being fruity.
Nonfon.
He just
I want to
addressed
ask
me.
Nonfon a
Can I
question.
respond to him? He addressed me though. 'cause
Okay, but I
wanna
got a
respond to
question
this.
for him after you. Go ahead.
Right. So Nonfon, I don't think saying you need to have something to offer a woman is incel adjacent. This is true in any relationship. Women are looking for something, men are looking for something, and if you offer them nothing, you're not going to be able to date. If you're not attractive, if you're not providing stability, and this goes both genders, they're not going to want to date you. It's like, oh, you're just a guy who I can be friends with. Okay, whatever. Like that's what friends are for. If you want a relationship, you do need to have some sort of mutually exchanging thing of
Yeah,
relationship. If that's what
true.
people are looking for, and this is not incel adjacent, and I would
Not-
not deride you.
Well,
for
I don't
saying
think
this
I don't think it's intrinsically incel adjacent. But I've only like I've heard that from incel adjacent people, and that like that's
right.
been the
The
stuff that
incel
for
version
some
of that
reason got
Nonfon
through.
is women only seek value in men. They don't care about what you like are like attractive wise. What they want necessarily is your like your status, your money. Like these things can replace the attractiveness, and that's all they want
That'd be
because
more
they
red
are
pill.
materialistic.
Right.
It comes down to the
men do
breadth of
this
your
too.
definition
Like,
of something
yes.
to offer. Like, there's a
You
lot
need
broader of a definition of something to offer. Like, you, non-fun, I identify as someone who has very particular things to offer a woman, but an incel would disagree because they don't see you
Let
being
me-
sort of like funny and intelligent
Well,
as
I just
something
want to
to
hold
offer.
on. I want to ask Nonfon a question. Nonfon, you say
Okay.
you have a lot of women friends that you hang around with. You have a lot of them that spend time with you. They think you're safe. We've talked before, and I think in public, and I don't think this is private
friend
to
zoned
share, that you don't have a girlfriend and you haven't had a girlfriend. Is that accurate still?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think is the barrier that is keeping you from going from I'm hanging around with a lot of women, I have a lot of women friends, to I'm actually dating one? What seems
He's
to
not
be the
handsome to him.
barrier stopping you?
Oh, don't say that, Zerzy.
I don't.
But that's
well,
the truth.
so
That's
that's
what it is.
Listen,
Some
I
of the
actually
issues
think that
I don't
Nonfon's
know.
adorable.
Okay, well let's
Would you
hear
let
what
him
he
spit
thinks.
game, Charlie?
Wow.
Let's just
No,
let him-
because he's
Can you
young.
spit
He's
game?
really young.
Yeah.
So you
He's
just- okay,
he's
so
very
he's really
baby
adorable.
aged. Yeah, he's adorable.
But
But
you're
if,
not gonna let him spit game. So
no,
what
because
good is
he's
it to
much
go
younger
out
than
if he
me.
can't approach?
There's a huge age gap. That's like that he's younger than my
I'll
baby
tell you
brother,
Look,
and that's why.
Xerxes,
Because-
it's because she's
I'm gonna
not
tell you why.
Destiny. She's not going to slide into his DMs when he's 18.
No, I'm
He's
not.
just like
Like one
Destiny
haircut
right.
away
Oh my
from a
God.
really,
No.
really young Ryan
Great
Reynolds,
argument.
kind
Yeah,
of.
precisely. Yes, like one good haircut away from a young Ryan Gosling.
But the problem
Ryan
is in real
No,
time.
I
you still
hold on,
found a
stop, Sophie,
reason.
stop, because Nonfon hasn't answered my question. I'd like to give him an opportunity to do so. What do you feel, Nonfon, is holding you back from being someone who hangs out with a lot of women to someone who's actually having a relationship with a woman?
So I don't exactly know. I think that's part of the issue, but you know, I
just
guess
told you.
one I would say like I don't approach many women with the intent of starting a relationship. You know, at least a romantic one.
What's
That's
stopping you
changed
from
a little
doing that?
bit. I don't like I'm nervous. I don't like talking to people in general, let alone women. Oh my god.
I
Yeah, so
understand.
Unbelievable.
and this is not to shit on you, Nonfon, but like, if I had to guess, because I know people that look like you that did perfectly fine in college.
Bash, how old
it
do you
is
think I
A lot
am?
more to do with the rhetoric and how you feel about approaching these people than it does with Xerxes' implication that oh well, you're just not attractive and that's why they don't.
He's
want
not
you. But
him.
First of all,
No. Let's actually have the conversation.
First of all,
Because
Nonfon is a
if he
cutie,
was
and I'm
what
not just
these
saying that to be
women-
nice.
If he
Second
was
of
what
all,
these women wanted, here's the thing: they would go to
women
him.
do not
They would
want
approach
to
him. They
be
would flirt with
insecure and
him.
nervous about it. Exactly, that's what I'm
wait.
saying.
But listen,
Nonfon,
it would be
how tall are you?
irrelevant.
How tall are you,
Go ahead.
Nonfon?
I'm 5'6".
I'll fix it.
So he's a little. You're a little lanky too.
I see that face.
He's my
goddamn.
short king,
Oh,
right?
no.
Calm down. He's my short
It's
king.
over. It's over. It's over.
Every
Now
vagina
listen.
on the
Over.
planet will dry up.
It's not fucking over.
Right now.
It's
Oh,
not
no.
fucking over.
Non-fun. I need
No.
to say something about Mooncake. I'm gonna throw you under the bus here. At one time, I asked you, "What's a good gift for someone?" And you were like, "A trip to the fucking like Greek islands or something," because you
Oh,
had a
that's too
fucking
much.
sugar daddy, bank manager,
Yeah.
millionaire boyfriend.
I know
Oh,
he's
do
telling
not
the
use
truth. That is
Mooncake.
That's a
Do
little
not use
disconnected, Mooncake.
as your
That's
standard.
true, Mooncake. That's a little disconnected. To be fair,
Like,
Okay.
any
I was soy
man,
on
no
that
matter
one.
how-
That's a little
She's also like
disconnected.
she's also like 5'10". She's also like 5'10".
Yeah,
Most
thank you, I'm
women
5'10".
Yeah.
value people who are
Well, if
just a
you're
little bit
5'10", I
taller than
think-
them.
Okay, yeah,
so.
typically a lot of women do want to
Yeah.
date taller than them.
Thank you. It's
But
gonna
I've
be like
dated a
that
lot
now.
of short.
Yeah.
I've dated men my height multiple times. I dated. Oh my god, I had a friend with benefits in college who was a 5'3" Filipino man.
But
was-
you didn't
I had
stay
3
with him.
inches
See,
on him.
see, here's what's important.
Well,
It's
I didn't
not
stay
it's
with
not
him.
enough
I
to
didn't
just
stay
be
with him
able
because there was a
to
lot
get
of
there.
drama. We were friends. We weren't dating. We
Maybe
were just
maybe that's the
fucking.
case.
I don't know.
But you have to understand the greater point, right? It's like a lot of people will say, "Well, someone of such regard has had such relationship." Okay, but you're not with that person now. It was short term. It was friends with benefits. It was situational ship. The question
You
is,
cannot
how
use
do
Charlie
we
as an
get
example,
into
and
good
I'm not
relationships,
gonna
right?
divulge any of
Yeah.
Charlie's private
Can I-
information, but I will say this. Charlie is the epitome of "you're just wrong," and I can't prove it, but you're just wrong.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
she
yeah,
has a
Soy
particular
Pill,
life
Soy Pill
experience.
has
Let's just
seen
be real,
Soy
like-
Pill has seen a lot of the people that I've been with, and he was like, "What the fuck, bitch?" And I was like,
And I believe it. But Charlie, let's just be
Hey!
real for a moment. You're probably a little different than most ladies, right? You're a different cut. I'm just let's
"Okay,
not
yeah,
kid
that's
ourselves on
fair.
that one, right?
That's fair.
So if
I know."
that's the case, right? Let's talk about like generally, like how are we?
But
going
there's
to
weird
have
bitches out there.
relationships with women. But
Yeah,
how
I
many
agree.
of them?
There's
How
weird
many of them-
bitches out there.
You
See?
actually want the weird girls. You absolutely want the weird. Here,
I've got something
non-fun,
on this
here's,
though.
Well, that
non-fun,
depends.
here's what you do: get yourself a gamer girl who would be really happy if you bought her like an Undertale plush or something.
stop. Okay,
that's
can
what you
I-
need.
True. True.
Can I jump in? Like
He
mutual
still
interest
has-
is obviously like an obvious answer. You're obviously gonna have more success
Non-fun.
with people who are more like
This is
you
a
and things.
this is a fucking problem with all of you. Namfon gave us his problem, and you all
I'm
just
trying to
ignored
speak to it. I'm literally trying to speak to it, and you interrupted me.
Okay,
Probably
what-
multiple
Fun.
problems, to be
when
fair,
you say
but-
when you say your problem is that you're not approaching enough of them because you get nervous, I think that's partially true. But I think the truth of the problem is with a lot of people who have a lot of female friends but can't translate that into like relationships is the toughest balance to strike, especially when you're younger and you don't have like a confident presence yet because you haven't totally found your you quite yet, is the striking the balance between making women feel safe and comfortable but also doing what Charlie mentioned earlier, which is making them feel like a lady, like creating some
trash.
contrast,
Don't
some
listen to 'em.
masculine contrast there while keeping them feeling safe, especially right because money helps you do that, right? Being really funny helps you do that. Being confident also is one of the best ways that helps you do that. And so it's not that you're not talking to them, because if you talk to them and still weren't confident, you still wouldn't necessarily be doing that. It's about focusing primarily on the internal and kind of establishing who non-fun is, and then bringing that assertively into conversations without
painful.
losing your ability to make women feel safe and comfortable around you.
Don't-
Because then you
don't-
can
don't
make
do
them
'em
feel
like
like a
this.
lady by having that contrast.
No,
You
that's
can lament
fantastic
one of these
advice.
people-
That's
one of these
fantastic
people is
advice.
married,
This-
Durst,
don't
and
do
it's
'em
not
like
you,
this.
So
Don't do 'em
so-
like
so-
this, bro.
so
Don't
just
do 'em
real
like
quick.
that, man.
No. He's right. Because when I was
Just be
younger,
yourself.
I was
Oh, no,
exactly
that's
like
not what he
non-fun
said,
when I was
actually.
younger. That's not what he said. So I was exactly like non-fun when I was younger, like when I was like 16 or whatever. And what I ended up doing was I didn't focus on women at all. I self-improved for a long time. There were a few lonely years in there for sure, but eventually a woman approached me. And then as soon as I had the experience of having a woman approaching me, I was like, oh, I guess I can actually do this now. And then that didn't work out, but then I could approach women afterward because I had the confidence from having self-improved enough.
Listen,
I
So
don't.
it's just-
Hold on.
it's just-
I
it's
don't
just
think.
time.
Hold on.
I have to
I don't
address
think you
this.
need that. I think that's a mistake. I don't think you
It is a
need
mistake.
to wait a few years, work on yourself. I think what you need to do is to see women as less of a prize, as less of something pedestal,
true.
and just realize they got the same insecurities that you do in a lot of cases.
Mhm.
I'm telling you, they're people.
Yes.
See,
Yeah,
the-
and I'm
the-
not
the
I'm not
thing is-
saying wait
let me-
2
let me
years. I'm
cook.
saying this is a process that can happen quickly, but I'm saying that necessary thing.
No,
what
I'm
you're
gonna do
talking
this. We're
about
gonna
is
do
part
this.
of
Hold
what
on.
I'm saying.
We're gonna do this.
This
Not fun. I
confidence
know. I
thing
know. I
is-
said I'm gonna set
clarify
this
what
up
I said.
before.
Let me clarify
Wait,
what I
wait.
said because
Wait,
I
go ahead.
didn't
Wait,
mean
don't
you
you have to
should
go in
wait 2
5
years.
minutes?
No,
Me?
Don't you have a panel? Don't you have an Andrew Wilson
At
panel? in 5
11
minutes?
p.m. Eastern.
It's
Oh, okay,
exactly.
okay.
What
yeah.
time is
That's
it right
why
now?
we had time to
I was
kill.
worried about you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
let
thank
me
you.
just let me just clarify what I said. I don't mean that you should wait several years like I did. Just that it did work for me. It doesn't have to be several years. That's all.
Non-fun.
Yeah,
This is
but
not a
here's the-
Dragon Ball Z
Sure.
training montage. You don't have to go away for like 8 episodes and
Exactly,
run
yeah.
around hell and get there.
Hyperbolic
This-
time
this is-
chamber, fam.
you
Can
get,
I-
here. This
not fun.
is
I
how you
haven't
get your
made any
dick wet.
prescription-
Wait,
oh,
Whoa there,
just
Elon. Careful.
let me give you the solution. So women's
SoyPill canceled.
attraction to you is mostly in their head. It's not in
Thank
your
you.
eyes. It's not in your arms. You need big dick energy. You need to have them create the story you want in their head, and then you just have to not fuck it up with them.
So be
Don't
attractive.
do things that pulls
You're
that
not
away.
him to these
No,
women.
don't
Mercy,
say the
stop.
don't say the wrong thing. Don't do anything creepy. Don't rub her back in the grocery store. You know, you
That I'm
just
good
have
at.
to
You can be
avoid.
creepy if they want you. See, this is you guys don't
have
understand.
to let me finish. You have to make them
Okay.
feel like you're pursuing them. You have to be overt in
We're gonna
that.
make this a panel. We're gonna
and
make this an
then
actual panel.
you
Non-fun.
just
I'm
have to-
gonna get you on. We're gonna have a lot of women and a lot of men. Okay. We're gonna get you something. Okay. We're gonna teach you how to approach women. Okay. We're gonna make
You
this a
guys are
panel
giving them
energy.
just,
next
just
week.
blue
Look
pill
up.
advice.
What are you
Rick
doing
You
next
guys are
week
telling
on
him.
Dick
You guys are
energy.
telling him.
You're
This
welcome.
is some
Probably
Captain
nothing.
Planet.
I was
The
his
power of
age when I
rhetoric.
got in the
We'll get
relationship
it.
I'm in now. Like I know how to make it happen at his age as like a Twinkie looking kind of skinny dude. I've done it. I've been there. Like
Maybe okay. So you have n equals 1. The question is, can you replicate that?
your n equals
constantly?
fucking 0 for his.
Okay, so you
I mean,
attacked
that's
me.
how
I
it
asked you the
works.
question. Don't talk about me. Talk about you. Can you replicate?
You just
it?
talked about
If you
me.
can replicate the business, you can replicate it. Make a business then, right?
Okay,
If you're
wait.
the one lucky guy and you
Please,
got
I
the
know
one
everyone
woman who
giving
likes
really
you,
reasonable
game
advice makes
set
you
match.
start
That's
out,
great
but
for
can
you.
please-
The
please stop
question is,
interrupting
hold
people,
on,
dude.
Soy, hold on, Soy.
I can't, dude.
Game set
you're
match.
trying to
If
blackmail
you
non-con,
are-
dude. I don't
hold on,
like it.
hold
I
on,
don't
hold
want
on.
you to
No,
finish.
I'm trying to tell
I
him
don't
the
want you
truth.
to cook.
I want non-fun
I
to
want
know
to
what
hope
what
pill, and you're
Rhea
trying to
wants
black
truth.
pill. It's
I'm
not
trying
okay.
to tell him the truth. He needs to know this. This is gonna help
Okay,
him.
okay,
This is
wait,
this
boy.
is this is
Here's-
medicine. It's bitter,
non-fun.
Here's
but
the
it's
truth,
going to heal
non-fun.
you. Listen, it's bitter, but it's going to heal you. The whole thing about confidence. Confidence is what gets you to make the approach. But at the same time, you have to recognize the woman is still her own person with her own life, her whole story. She does have to feel attracted to you. That's fair. There's nothing wrong with that, actually. People are so upset with the black pill, but the truth is, yes, you have to, if you're going to cold approach, yes, you have to be attractive to her. If you're friends with her and you want to transition this into a long-term relationship, you are going to have some degree of attraction and sex appeal. You have to cross that barrier. Now, the question is, where do we find women that want that? Now, they actually gave you some pretty good advice insofar as you go to a liberal area, you act a little Twinkie, or you do whatever you do there, and perhaps you'll find success in that environment. The question is that the man you want to be? I don't know. I wouldn't want to be that man, but maybe
Are
you
you
want
going
to
to
be
give
a
him
Twinkie little
prescriptive
man.
advice, or are you just going to
The prescriptive advice is very simple, right? The first thing you actually have to do, if you ask me, long before you try to be with a woman, is you need to focus on your character, right? Not for the women, but so that you are actually a good person to be in a relationship with. That's game set match.
This is
It
sounding
doesn't
very
matter
familiar.
if you are. It should
I'm
sound
sorry,
familiar
I
because you
know.
watch my videos.
Word for
Soy
word,
Pill, it sounds
bar for
familiar because
bar.
you watch my
said-
content.
you said
So
it
you
was
watch the things that
bullshit.
I've said, right?
No,
So
because
what I'm
Jet
saying
said
is,
this. This is what Jet
Yeah.
said.
listen,
You listen,
listen,
on him for
listen.
it.
I mean,
So I'll tell you why. I'll tell you the difference. The difference is he's making it prescriptive to women. To get to women, it doesn't matter if you're a good person, good character. It matters if you're attracted to them. That's to get to women. But I'm not here to get you to women. I'm here to get you into a good relationship with someone that actually cares about
I
you.
didn't make
No,
my
you're
advice
here
any
to get-
clearer.
I want to hear what
Yeah,
Soypill
but
has.
I'm
with
good
this
person.
Soypill had
now,
some things.
though.
So
Hold on, Soypill had some things to say.
Yes,
Soypill wanted to
okay.
give some advice. Go ahead.
If you ever listen to Xerxes, you are doing yourself a disfavor, and it does
No,
equal
you're doing
0
yourself
there.
a-
Hold
a
on, please
service.
don't interrupt. You've talked for
life
a very
is
long
going to be
time,
a
buddy.
lot better.
Please stop. Please stop. Okay, so
You were
first
on
of all,
the
he's just
panel
gonna
for
be-
2
please
hours.
stop.
What are you talking
Please-
about?
Yeah, well, this isn't your panel, buddy. I organized it.
Let
okay?
Soy-
But
let
you,
Soy-
you,
okay,
you
hold on,
talked longer
please.
Let,
than me.
hold on. Let Soypill finish
Please.
his point, Xerxes,
Please.
please.
I'm-
Soypill,
Alright.
please.
Look,
Go ahead.
one thing that you're probably doing right now is putting yourself out there and talking to women, because my journey with women has been one of consistent iterations and failures. I was a fat, awkward, nervous person who viewed women as a prize, as Wick said you should not. That is how a lot of men are raised in our society. It starts around 12, 13, you hit puberty, you're like, oh, I have all these emotions, I want to get with a woman. That is how every movie, every single story is. That's the prize to be won. Once you get that relationship, you're there. And what you realize is as you fail with these women, as you like go and talk to them, and it's like, oh, that doesn't work. And Xerxes, one thing you said that was right is women are people, right? Sometimes you're not what they're looking for, but also sometimes you're not what you want to be yet, and you're still figuring stuff out. So once you failed with a lot of people and you realize, oh, like when I talk to these people, like I have something on the line, like as soon as they reject me, I've lost something, and not, hey, I didn't enjoy that conversation with this person because we're not really a chemistry, we didn't have that chemistry. You start to realize through these failures and through trying over and over again what you are, what you're looking for, and eventually you come to the fact of, hey, I have friends, and maybe there's an attraction there that develops, and maybe I work on myself, but ultimately I've had to fail a bunch of times before I really realized what I'm looking for. Sometimes it works out. I think Jeb probably, he said he got married young, probably figured it out pretty fast. I am still figuring this out, and I'm almost 30, and some people never figure it out. But if you don't go out and try, if you are constantly held back by this fear of rejection, fear of not being the right thing, that's never going to get you anywhere. You do have to go out and put yourself out there, and you're going to get rejected, but that's good because usually the people that don't want you are not necessarily people you want to be with. And that's
here's what you
part
need
of
to do.
developing into who you are.
Non-font,
But
this is the unironically best advice you'll ever get. And this you can do right now, tonight, okay? 100 women, DM them, compliment them on their looks, right? And say, hey, let's talk. You'll get one response.
Shot down 100 times.
See, that does sound
intelligent.
intelligent.
Or you'll get zero.
That's pretty
intelligent.
No,
What
I'm not kidding.
Meeting the allegations.
Hold on. What this does is it gets you used to approaching women coldly. It sets you up to be used to and how to handle it.
Not on a DM.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like it's sort of it's an avoidant maneuver.
Yeah,
to,
it's
like,
not effective, I feel like.
It will work.
Non-fun? Wait,
person and talk to people. Like you have to go in person and approach people and talk to people like they're normal people, right? Don't put any pressure on them. But
the fact that you're not sending your dick is going to put you way above their other DMs. I'm just saying right now.
DMing not building that experience, right? Like going in person and facing somebody face to face and dealing with that kind of like awkwardness, that is giving you the experience that you need.
Yeah, like connection depends on context, and just DMing people is not going to build context. What you need to do is deprioritize finding a relationship as your goal. You need to get out there. You have to do the things that you like doing. And then once you're inside of a space where you are doing what you enjoy, look around. See the women that are there doing what you're also doing. You are now in a context where you can build real connection. You have something to build off of. And that's where you have to demonstrate the bravery that I think is the kernel of what Wick was trying to say. Put yourself out there, but put yourself out there in a context that's meaningful to you, that will create a connection that will then become meaningful as well.
Yeah, that's the only.
I've got to take off. So let me just. I've got to take off, so let me just hop in here. Here's the actual best advice you will hear tonight, no matter what happens after I leave. Just transition. You will get so many dudes who will come after you. Won't be a problem. I'll see you guys later.
That's unironically, yeah, that will work. You will get a lot of girls and dudes, and many different kinds of people. I also got to bounce. I did not realize it was 6:15, but I had fun. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye. Thank you for having me.
Before I go to, I just want to ask, non-fun.
Oops, I forgot. I was streaming. I literally forgot that I was freaking streaming. Well, hello, YouTube and Kick. How was that? Did you guys like the panel? How was the panel? Well, I'm gonna end stream. And in like an hour and a half, I'll be on Twitch. I will be on Twitch. So, see you all then. On Twitch. Twitch.tv/enemycharlie. I'm probably honestly going to want to peek in on Wick and Andrew Wilson's argument because I think it's going to be funny. But other than that, I'll catch you all later. No stream tomorrow night. But I will be here tonight. I'll be on Twitch tonight. I'll be on Twitch on Saturday, and most likely on Sunday as well. I'll see you all then. Goodbye. Goodbye.